Hey everyone, it's Amia Khan here with your Fox 10 News Now update. Happy Monday morning. I'm excited to see you all. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know that it's really difficult when you go 2 days without News Now, so I apologize for giving you such a huge gap between News Now. I promise to pay you guys back. We're going to have a great show this morning. Celeste Rodriguez will be joining me straight from the morning show. Any minute now, she should be sitting right to my left. And then a little bit later on, we'll be joined by Andrea Robinson, the one and only. She doesn't get up here that much, so I want to incorporate her more into the News Now family because we love her as well. Plus, of course, there are live events coming in throughout the day. So if something comes in, obviously we will take you there. If there's any breaking news, we will bring that to you here as well. For example, if we get any new updates on the search for the I-10 shooter, we're going to let you know. In fact, yesterday, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office held a press conference in regard to the search for the I-10 shooting, but instead they announced arrests of 3 teenagers, I believe, that were arrested because they were using slingshots to target cars, sort of like copycat crimes. So there's that. And we had that full press conference, so we can play that for you guys in case you missed it yesterday, didn't catch the evening news yesterday. Plus, really unfortunate news out of Kentucky. A state trooper shot and killed, 31 years old, pursuing a suspect. He pursued the suspect, he tried to pull over the suspect. Suspect fled. The trooper pursued the suspect for about 9 miles. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, the suspect stops his car abruptly, which causes the Kentucky State Trooper to crash into the back of that suspect's vehicle. Then the suspect gets out and starts opening fire on the state trooper. It's a really tragic story. That state trooper, unfortunately, did not make it, was shot and killed. There's a huge manhunt overnight / this morning, and in the end, police were able to find the suspect. Suspect wouldn't drop his gun, so the suspect was also shot and killed. So that's a brief update as of right now. We also got a full press conference on that story this morning, so I can bring you that a little bit later on as well. Also, Hillary Clinton is speaking, so there's that. There's a lot of things happening. Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a great show. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Oh, and before I continue, for those of you who are regular News Now viewers, I want to give you an update. We have a new schedule starting today. So normally we have a break from 1:30 to 2:30. That break does not exist anymore. It'll probably be more of like a 2 or 3 minute break where we wrap up the morning show at 1:30 and we get another event set up right away so we can start again at 1:35. So there are a few changes, meaning News Now will be on for an extra hour longer than it already is. And you'll be seeing a new face up here with me and Kinsey as well, Mike Page. So you'll be seeing him today at noon, so stay tuned for that. He's great. I've seen him practice. He's got control over this whole set, so please be nice to him, welcome him. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to announce to you right now. While I wait for something happening right now. The attorney for Kim Davis, the Kentucky clerk refusing to issue same-sex marriages, live right now. We're going to take that, and I'll be back with you guys in a little bit.
Also made it clear that she understands the very tough, impossible position that her deputy clerks find themselves in. And so she has said that if any of her clerks decide that they must issue licenses in order to avoid going to jail, she will not take any adverse action against them. She understands them. She hates the fact that they have been caught in this impossible situation, and she is grieved by that fact. And so she has also made it clear, though, that if any of her deputy clerks are compelled to issue licenses out of her office, unauthorized licenses, that is, they will be issued on modified forms. Forms that do not have Kim Davis's name, her title, her office, or her authority. Forms that expressly state that they are issued pursuant to a federal court order. Now, Ms. Davis hopes that these good faith measures will be sufficient to satisfy the plaintiffs and the court, and that she will not have to once again be incarcerated for exercising her faith and not abandoning her convictions. She understands and she recognizes, however, that there are significant problems with this emergency stopgap approach, not the least of which is that under Kentucky law, her deputy clerks can only do that which she authorizes them to do. And so she remains firm in her belief that these problems must be addressed by the people that have the authority to address them and to provide her the accommodation that she needs for her conscience, that is Governor Beshear and the Kentucky legislature. They have the authority to implement these types of common sense, easy win-win solutions that she has proposed and that she has now implemented without their action. You know, this case is not about Kim Davis or just about Kim Davis anymore, because there are millions of other Americans, people of faith, who share the same convictions about marriage that Kim Davis has, and who are either now faced or will soon be faced with very similar decisions between their conscience and their livelihood, or between their conscience and their freedom. And that is why it remains imperative to try to find an accommodation for people like Kim Davis. Kim Davis believes we are a big enough country, diverse enough and tolerant enough to find ways to accommodate our differences and our beliefs, to be able to have a civil discourse on this subject, to disagree without being disagreeable. And so, because she believes strongly in her constitutional right to a reasonable accommodation, because we believe in that right, not just for Kim Davis, but for all Americans, we are going to vigorously continue to pursue the litigation on behalf of Kim Davis. And part of that litigation, it is now has at least 4 or 5 various components. We have in the Court of Appeals the challenge to the original injunction that was entered against Kim Davis by Judge Bunning. We have the federal lawsuit against the governor for his refusal to provide Kim Davis with an accommodation. We have the contempt order against Kim Davis that required her to spend 6 days in jail for her convictions. And we have the expansion of the initial injunction that the lower court was without authority to implement. All of those matters remain on appeal, and all of those matters we will pursue vigorously on Kim Davis's behalf. Nothing has changed with respect to the ongoing litigation. In addition, we are working now on a new additional lawsuit to file against Governor Beshear in Kentucky State Court for his steadfast unwillingness to do that which Kentucky law most clearly requires him to do, and that is to provide Kim Davis with a reasonable accommodation. And so this is where we are, this is where we find ourselves. There are still a lot of questions out there that we don't know the answers to, but we hope that we will find a way to move forward. We will find a way to allow Kim Davis to do what she is doing right now in that building, and that is serving the citizens of Rowan County that she loves without compromising her faith. Thank you, and I'm prepared to take a few questions.
Who gave the authority to substitute words that normally appear on the form? Was that an order from Davis? And if so, how is that not a violation of the judge's order that said that it would be a violation of contempt, essentially, to interfere?
The court has indicated that it was willing to accept some modifications of the marriage license in order to accommodate Kim Davis's convictions and faith.
Did she give that order?
Kim Davis did modify the licenses in order to try to find a common sense, reasonable way to move forward. She does not want to defy the orders of a federal court. She wants very much to be able to comply. She doesn't want to be a whipping post, and she doesn't want to be a martyr, and she doesn't want to be incarcerated. She is doing the best that she can under very difficult circumstances, circumstances that no American citizen should ever have to be in. And so that's what she's doing.
Challenge the validity of those licenses? She's going to challenge the validity of the licenses?
Right now, Kim Davis is focused on winning a reasonable accommodation for her religious beliefs. We have not yet discussed what will happen with the unauthorized licenses that have been issued by her office. They will have to remain in legal limbo for now until hopefully the governor or the legislature intervene to change the law.
Is that why there was such a delay this morning with the license that was processed today? Just going back and forth to make sure that Ms. Davis was okay with it, and did Liberty Counsel have a chance to look at that and counsel her on that?
I just arrived here a few minutes ago. I'm not sure what happened earlier today, so I cannot speak to that.
But the governor and the attorney general have both said that the marriages will be valid. So therefore, it sounds like they don't need this accommodation. And it's really just coming from you guys.
Well, what the governor and the attorney general have said is in direct contravention of very clear Kentucky law. There is no doubt that there is a lot of confusion about the status of these licenses. Her deputy clerks can only do that which she authorizes them to do, and the whole world knows that Kim Davis has not authorized the issuance of marriage licenses. Governor Beshear has been very eager to pass this hot potato, if you will, to someone else. He needs to do his job. There's a lot of talk here about Kim Davis doing her job. Governor Beshear needs to do his job and to find a way to do that which we have always done for people of faith in this country. You know, in this free and tolerant country, we have a rich history of accommodating the faiths of people who find themselves in this situation. We have never put them in jail. We have never forced Americans to choose between their sincerely held beliefs and between their livelihoods, certainly not between their freedoms. There is no reason why a similar accommodation cannot be granted to Kim. Governor Beshear has a legal duty to provide it. He has the authority to provide it, and his failure to do so, even as we sit here today, is a tragedy.
Is there any precedent for an elected official to receive such an accommodation?
There is precedent for both private and public officials in this country to be accommodated for their beliefs. Public and private officials. The Constitution and the law is clear that we do not require elected officials to check their faith and their religious beliefs at the gatehouse to public service. That we've never imposed a religious test as a condition for either obtaining or maintaining an elected public office in this country, and we should not start to do that now.
You addressed this seems like changes made.
Compromise on her part. Trying to, in good faith, make a compromise. You're saying she changed the document today and sent it out the door knowing it wasn't valid. You're telling me she knew that wasn't valid, so she just sent something out that...
What I am telling you is two things. First of all, Kim Davis has grave doubts about the validity of not just the licenses that went out today, but the licenses that have gone out since she has been incarcerated. All of those are in legal limbo, and they need to be looked at and addressed. The other thing I'm telling you is that the federal court in this case has already indicated that it was willing to accept some alterations to the licenses. The licenses that were issued while Kim Davis was incarcerated had been altered by her deputy clerks to remove part of the information that had previously been on there. Judge Bunning indicated that he didn't have a problem with that approach, even as he was unsure about the legal validity of those licenses. And so again, all I can say is that Kim Davis is operating under a very difficult set of circumstances. She is trying to do the best that she can under these circumstances. We haven't looked at all those issues. The couples themselves, perhaps others that might have. I can't speculate about what will or will not happen down the road. What I know is that there is no reason to have the type of legal uncertainty that we have today as a result of Governor Beshear's unwillingness to clarify and to provide Kim Davis with an accommodation.
What specific alterations she made today to the document?
I believe that what she has done is to remove her name and title and authority from the licenses, also to indicate that they were being issued pursuant to a federal court order referencing the case number of the litigation that resulted in that order, and also that the signatory on behalf of the clerk now signs in their capacity as a notary public and not a deputy clerk. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind.
And you said that Judge Bunning was comfortable. I believe you're referring to the order that released her from jail. And he said that he believed that the office was complying with his August 12th order. Is that not a different question as to whether or not now Ms. Davis is complying with the order that released her from jail on the condition that she not interfere directly or indirectly? Because you are now saying that she in fact did interfere somewhat by changing the type of licenses and the authority under which they're issued.
Ms. Davis has not interfered with the issuance of the licenses. She has not blocked the licenses from being issued. Last week, when Judge Bunning released Kim Davis from jail, he was fully aware that licenses were being altered by her deputies, and he indicated that notwithstanding those alterations, he believed that there was substantial compliance with his order such that there was no longer a need to keep Kim Davis incarcerated. That is what happened last week, and the record is pretty clear about that.
How is it that she didn't violate state law, though, in ordering these documents to be modified?
She is doing the best that she can under a very difficult set of circumstances. The dust will have to settle down the road. She's between a rock and a hard place. She's got a federal court that is threatening her with incarceration unless she's violating her beliefs. She's got, obligations to her constituents. She's got obligations to Kentucky state law. There are a lot of significant issues here that will continue to have to be looked at and to be addressed. We don't have all the answers today. What we know is that Kim Davis is doing the best that she can under very difficult circumstances.
When the licenses were issued in good faith under those alterations, if the judge decides those alterations are not accepted, is there a contingency plan? Is there another round?
I can't speculate what will happen down the road. All I can say is what's transpired now, and that once again, Kim Davis has never asked for this spotlight. She's not looking to be a hero, and she would very much like to just be able to go back to serving the people of Rowan County without violating her conscience. And so she earnestly hopes that what she did today in good faith will be sufficient to be able to move forward. She's not looking to pick a fight with anyone. She just wants to find a way to do her job without compromising her convictions.
But she is the one, and you are the ones to call into question the validity of these licenses.
Well, Kentucky law calls into question the validity of these licenses.
What is the Kentucky law that restricts her deputies from only acting under her authorization?
Well, they are her deputy clerks, and so they have not been elected to that public office. She was elected to that public office to serve the citizens of Rowan County. Her deputy clerks have no authority whatsoever to act in contravention to the express authority that Kim Davis provides to them.
With these licenses, they no longer, as you said, they no longer have her name on there, they no longer have her position on there, but people still come into her county clerk's office. You still come to a deputy clerk who answers to her. Isn't that still in some way, even though she is saying she's not authorizing them, isn't there still some, some level where she is having some involvement in this, and she's comfortable with this arrangement?
No. Kim Davis can hold her head up high today knowing that she has not compromised her conscience and her beliefs. She'll be able to continue to sleep well, knowing that she has been true. Kim Davis has always said that it was not her goal to stop people from being married. She just could not take a part in marriages that violate her conscience. She's always said that if it's a matter of simply recording these licenses in her office, such as you would record a vehicle registration or other licenses, she doesn't have a problem with that. The problem that Kim Davis has had was being the authorizing agent for the union, being the person who signs the license or under whose authority the license is issued. If she's no longer the person authorizing the license, then what happens down the road is not going to contravene her conscience.
Brian made 3 trips in there this morning. The uniform was okay. She modified it to her satisfaction and then informed her deputy clerk it was okay to issue that piece of paper. Is that not authorizing it?
I am not certain what transpired because I just arrived here a few minutes ago. What I can say, what I can say is that the
All right,
license.
guys, so that's the gist of the press conference set up by Kim Davis's attorney. I'm still so surprised how big of a deal this story is out of Kentucky. I mean, I don't think she ever thought she would be that famous just being a county clerk.
Right, she's sticking to her guns.
I know, but
she's got like definitely some strong
convictions.
Yeah,
right.
She's going to stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, which is fine. I think it's more just, I'm amazed at how it's sort of just taken over the country in terms of just the discussion it's created on social media, on regular media. I mean, we're talking about it right now. We're kind of a fusion between both.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, the fact that she didn't actually... She didn't lose her job. I mean, she was put into jail. She was released. She's back on the job today.
Right.
It's not like she didn't do what her job had required, but she still didn't lose her job.
Right.
So it's like to a certain degree, they almost her deputy clerks are the ones who are issuing the marriage licenses to gay couples, but she didn't lose her job. So to a certain degree, it's kind of interesting to see how how the government is handling the case.
Right, because here, if we refuse to do something that was part of our job, we would lose our job or have our job threatened at least. And I don't know if it's because, like, I'm wondering how this would play if this county clerk was in California, for example.
Right.
A state that is known to be fairly liberal.
Right.
I think because it's Kentucky, I feel
probably
like there's some leniency, honestly, because of the state. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, by the way, we're on Periscope.
We're also on Periscope,
Yeah, so that's what I was I'm like leaning over.
Oh, wow. You have a lot of people tuning in right now.
Oh, we do. Hey, guys. Good morning.
So we're like dual streaming. So that way...
Periscope, Celeste Fox 10, and then Fox News Now.
YouTube.com/Fox10 Phoenix. So basically, we're just covering all bases.
We are.
That way everyone can
Anywhere
get the news
you need
updates.
us, you got us.
Not anywhere. Like, you can't
Just about.
Don't show up at my home.
No. Unless you have
Don't show
food
up.
or Starbucks
Yeah, unless you
card,
have food or Starbucks.
or the answer to exactly what this
Oh,
is. So,
I've had viewers offer me Starbucks in the past.
Oh, you have?
No one's ever followed through on that offer, by the way.
She's waiting.
I'm
Hello.
waiting.
So
Actually,
have should we ask them, viewers, what this is?
We could. So today is Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah basically marks the start of the Jewish New Year, which started the last night, sundown. Mm-hmm. This is all information I just learned in the last half hour. And basically, Jewish people are off work.
Yeah.
They
it's a holiday.
Told not, you're not supposed to really do work. I saw one of my friends tweeted, someone Jewish Facebooked yesterday in LA about how he's like, all of you people out there, you can thank us for the light traffic tomorrow. Because, it's true, Jewish holidays in LA specifically, suddenly there's no traffic on the road.
Yeah.
Because there's a large portion of the population who do practice that faith there.
So because it's Rosh Hashanah, we had Chompies in town. They're local companies. So folks, if you're watching from other states, you may or may not have heard of them. They've got a few different restaurants here in the valley, but Jewish family, and they came in, brought a bunch of baked goods, and one of the items, here you go.
Well, here's the baked goods.
They have quite the bakery, kind of the display. But one of the things they brought in was this noodle dish, which Sami is enjoying. Let's see if you can see that. And we're not sure exactly what's on it. It's delicious.
But I don't know what
She thought it was quinoa, and I think probably it looks like
There's
farro.
got to be one
farro
person
or barley.
out there.
Maybe it's barley, farro. I don't know.
It's something
One of
grainy.
those. But
So,
delicious.
there's that.
Okay.
Anyways, someone out there will give us an answer. In the meantime, I know there are a lot of news topics that a
Yeah.
lot of the viewers want to get to. A lot of the people chiming in on different stories. Dan in Florida is very passionate about the Kim Davis story, saying you work for the state and you don't do what the law dictates, fire them. Just like the worker at Arby's that refused to serve a cop, fired them both.
Yeah.
Lots of anti-cop sentiment out there as well. I saw a story, I just downloaded it. I haven't even watched it yet, but apparently an officer was refused the bathroom at Starbucks.
We talked about this. Well, okay, so
What?
they said it was like, I believe it was only for customer use. Do you want to play it?
Yeah, let's play it, because I'm shocked. I sometimes go to Starbucks and use the restroom without buying a beverage. Sometimes.
Well, because you probably give, on some days you probably purchase more beverages than...
Yeah, I feel like
than visits to the
in the
restroom that
long
you-
run, the amount of money I give to them is worth unlimited access to bathrooms for the
Yeah,
rest of my life.
Absolutely.
That should be fair. So let's watch this.
Okay, let's watch
And then
it.
we can kind of get into that whole cop discussion.
Let's do it.
Stand by, guys. I got
Okay, I'm
it.
going to show folks at Periscope what you're doing here. So that
Okay,
they
cool. They can see what I'm doing. All right, let's watch. Hi guys, so obviously for some reason this package was sent to us without audio. Obviously this is not just video because you see the people talking and giving us sound bites.
Yeah.
So it's very odd. So what I'm going to do is just read the script. Pennsylvania Starbucks at the center of a brewing outrage after a Facebook post went viral over the weekend alleging that an employee there told a uniformed officer he was not allowed to use the bathroom because he was not a paying customer.
Yeah, sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, because the thing is, so, I mean, it's in Pennsylvania. There's the statement right now from Starbucks on the screen. Depending on the area of town, I feel like I get it. Because there are certain Starbuckses that are in sketchier neighborhoods, for example.
Right.
And so they try to emphasize paying customers, or they have bathroom locks that require like a coin or
the little
code to
The Starbucks
access.
at 13th and Chestnut
There
in
it
Center
goes.
City is frequented by all kinds, including Philly
Okay,
police
I don't know what
officers.
just happened.
But one officer apparently got hot after being told he could not use the restroom because he was not a paying customer. He roasted the Starbucks store with this Facebook post, saying a woman at the counter told him the restroom was for customers only and denied him the key code. He says he politely asked again. She then states in the same loud manner and a smirk, "Are you a paying customer?" It was at this point that I realized what she was doing.
It's not right. They work hard, they protect us, they got our backs. You gotta go to the bathroom, you gotta go to the bathroom.
Our officers are out there walking a beat, they're out there driving a car. It's common courtesy to let them use the restroom if needed. I mean, we've never heard of such a thing.
Fraternal Order of Police President John McNesby says he's firing off a letter to Starbucks management. He wants either a change of policy or a flat-out rejection of what happened.
And suppose you had a little, 3-4-year-old child with you and you asked, I mean, when you're going to tell them no? We don't go to work looking to hurt anybody, looking to take anybody's life. We're looking to protect you and the community. And that's all we ask in return is a little bit of courtesy back.
The corporate office for Starbucks sent a statement to Fox 29 saying, quote, "We want everyone who visits our stores to enjoy their visit, and we were concerned to learn about this experience. This customer's experience is not consistent with the welcoming and friendly environment we strive to create for everyone."
If they need to use a restroom, they should be more than welcome. They'd always be welcome to use ours. It's horrible.
All right, so that, first of all, that was just weird in terms of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
The first time
Sorry
we
about
played
that.
it, there was no audio, but I'm glad we got the audio because I was worried that I was going to have audio issues the whole day, which would prevent me from playing a lot of videos for you guys.
It sounds like this employee probably just had somebody laid the law the wrong way down for him. Like he didn't understand
he had a
the rules.
uniform on, though. It's one
Yeah,
thing
the
if like the
uniformed
guy.
officer.
I mean, not to discriminate against anyone, but I can understand how sometimes they have that rule again for people who are more transient because they want to keep a certain image within the Starbucks, or they just, I don't know. But
well, and we all know some people, you walk into stores or retail shop or a restaurant, and there are those employees that take it to the nth degree. So they hear something about, do not allow people to come in and just use the restroom.
Right.
And it's not always black and white. There's areas where you need to use discretion and areas of gray where you say, okay, well, it's an officer.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to let them use it. Or if somebody comes in and,
do you really need to go to the bathroom?
I wonder if he stopped him.
And
because
how do
usually, like, when you just walk in, I know when I'm out reporting in a live truck, and obviously there's times where I come in at 3:30 and then I'm not back to the station until sometimes 11 or 11:30.
And there's no bathroom in the live truck.
Right, so we have to stop. I don't go ask for permission.
I think it must have been one of those
like
that had a code then. The only reason you would go to the counter and establish that you need to use the restroom and tell the barista that is if it was one of those Starbuckses that required a coin or a code.
Absolutely.
Is my guess. I've been to many Starbuckses across the world, and I feel like I'm an expert in Starbucks bathrooms. And you too, a big Starbucks fan.
Absolutely.
So,
on my card, on my iPhone.
Gold member.
Yeah, that's right. Until 2016, baby.
It's important. It's important. So,
okay, let's talk about these freeway shootings, because I know a lot of people they were asking about it. Do you have a map? By the way,
I can pull up maps.
Do you want to pull it?
Yeah.
Pull it up. So I actually I mentioned a little bit earlier that Tim Case, he's one of the public information officers with DPS. He was actually going to come in. Let me watch the clock. Oh, it's 10:30. Got a few minutes before the morning meeting starts. He was going to come in with his kiddos, take some pictures on the couch. We're friends, and he he said that he's been stuck in the emergency operations center all weekend long
because of the freeway shooting.
Tons of calls, right? So they don't have much to release just yet, but they are looking into a slew of phone calls that are coming in. They're investigating every call. Yeah. So the deal was that the last confirmed shooting vehicle hit by a projectile was, I believe it was last Thursday.
Thursday is the last time they gave us an official update.
Right, Thursday.
They haven't
11 confirmed.
Yeah.
And then this morning, there weren't any over the weekend. They arrested 3 guys who were kind of copycat criminals type
who basically use slingshots to target cars, and these guys are like 18 years old.
Right.
Like, they're young. And there was a full press conference held yesterday by Sheriff Joe, which as soon as you leave, I'm going to play that for the viewers so they can hear straight from the sheriff what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But the actual shooter is still on the loose. So what we do know, by the way, on Friday we were broadcasting live coverage of the search for the shooter all day, and many of the viewers had watched as we showed them video of the arrest of people that were possible suspects, persons of interest.
Right.
I'm not sure if we gave you a full update by the end of the afternoon. I don't know if we knew this information yet, but the woman was released. That was the individual's mother. The guy was booked on, I think, marijuana possession. Mm-hmm. They're not saying he's the primary suspect, but they did question him for quite a while.
So what we do know about today, though, before I have to jet out to this meeting, was the 2 situations that took place in the 17 that they were looking into. I-17 and Bethany Home Road. There was a situation that they're looking into investigating there. And then another...
Which is right here.
Yeah, I-7, yep, right in there, I-17 Bethany. And then there was another call made about I-17 and Rose Garden Lane, which is up north, closer to the 101 and the 17 where those meet.
Okay.
It's a smaller exit, smaller street, but that's where the location for that one was. So they're looking into those 2 locations, and obviously more information will follow. So Tim is saying they're not getting much sleep. They're kind of running around the clock and at the Emergency Operations Center. Good thing is they're getting a ton of phone calls.
Everyone at home wants the update.
Yeah.
They're all waiting. I know a lot of the viewers are tuning in just for this. So again, these have not been confirmed as shots from the freeway, but a lot of people obviously worried, and DPS hasn't come out to confirm anything. Although we even got a message from a woman named Pam, who apparently her car was targeted around 7 o'clock last night. I know that Linda spoke with her yesterday. Linda was sent pictures. Pam is upset because DPS hasn't come by to look at all the damage of her
There's
truck.
probably a lot of people calling saying,
because they have so much going on. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to head to this meeting for the morning show, and then I'll be back. I'll be back later, yeah.
Okay.
I know you have Andrea coming as well, but
maybe you can hop up after Andrea says bye.
Yeah,
maybe we can do a lot of like rotating musical chairs. It'll be fun.
Musical chairs. Only if I can win the cake, if I land on the chair. No, just kidding. Remember that at like the carnivals and stuff?
I totally forgot about winning the cakes all the time. My childhood was spent attempting to win cakes. I also weighed more then than I do now. So there's that.
Okay, see you soon, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Hang in, Celeste. All right, I'm going to pull up this press conference from DPS, guys. Not DPS, sorry, the MCSO. Oh no! The MCSO Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, their press conference from yesterday. We weren't able to stream it live yesterday because there was no news now on Sunday, but I did not want to leave you guys hanging, so let's watch it in full now. It's about 10 minutes long. Enjoy.
Nobody's watching a football game? Frank, where's the other fella here?
Mike Solberg. Where's Mike? Mike, you in here?
Hey, Jim, Mike in?
You know, it's interesting. I never pull this kind of crowd. You actually do a little better than I do.
Jeez, I can pull a crowd here and go to the toilet. You didn't
Mike,
know
come on
that?
up, buddy.
Good soundbite. You guys want to report that? Hi, Chief. How are you?
Good to see you.
Mesa?
Yep.
Where's Gascona?
He's on the West Coast.
Oh, California. Anyway, this is kind of a serious matter. I want to thank Director Milstead and the Deputy Chief.
Assistant Chief.
Solberg.
Yes.
For coming over. You guys both did a great job. Actually, we last night we received a phone call of two man and wife in a vehicle. That the vehicle the window was shattered on the driver's side. The victims were smart enough to get the license plate of the vehicle that pulled up alongside their vehicle, shot at them with a slingshot and rocks, and eventually we joined forces with the Department of Public Safety Task Force. Mesa Police had an incident. So working together, able to locate the vehicle. 4 people were arrested, 18, 19-year-olds. They admitted to shooting at 6 pedestrians, I believe 7 vehicles, between that short time span, 3 to 7 p.m. last night. They're booked into jail, and they worked, as I say, with the DPS together to do something about this problem. We feel, and I believe the director would also agree, that this probably a copycat, but that's still serious, and I'm sure there'll be copycats out there. So the main mission is have the people alerted. I have to thank those 2 witnesses that were smart enough to get the license plate of the suspects that led into the arrest. Frank, you got it?
Yeah, thanks, Sheriff. And I think I want to just reiterate something that the sheriff said, and I think it's important. Why are we here today is last week when this whole thing really hit the media and we started talking, I kept asking everybody to come forward, be vigilant, be good witnesses, pay attention to what's going on around you. This case happened last night, and it was solved so rapidly because of a witness in a car that got a license plate, and the fact that Mesa PD and the sheriff's office and the Arizona Department of Public Safety troopers were all able to work cohesively on this case to make it happen and come to an end quickly. At the end of the day, there's 3 18-year-olds that were all booked on criminal damage and conspiracy. The item was a slingshot, and when we talk a lot about projectile, this is one of those projectile-type shootings. They were using granite and a slingshot to shoot at pedestrians and cars, and without the help, again, of everybody involved, we wouldn't have done this so quickly. So where are we at today with what's going on the west side and the freeways? We have not had a shooting since Thursday or a projectile shooting since Thursday. We continue to monitor our leads coming into the watch center. Those number 850 plus as I walked in here today. We have the person that we had in custody last week is still in custody. That investigation is still ongoing. We don't think what happened on the east side is anything related to what we have going on the west side. These are just some kids that were out thinking that maybe they'd come up with some good idea. And my message there, I guess, to kids that are thinking that it's kind of cool to do this and let's see what we can do is they're all in jail, and they have probably impacted their life negatively for some time to come because now they will all end up with criminal records if we do a good job. So the other thing, don't kid yourself. What the kids were doing last night was absolutely lethal. If you break out a windshield with a rock and somebody grabs a steering wheel and jerks it and turns it the wrong way or hits another car and you have a catastrophic collision, you actually end up with death again. So none of this is fun and games. It's all very, very serious, and none of us should have to drive the freeways or any roadway and worry about people, just randomly shooting items at our vehicles. And we, as the task force, will continue to work on this until we bring it to a stop. So I think that's all we have today, unless Mike has something to add. If we'll take a few questions, and then we'll go from there. So anyone? Yes, sir.
So last night's arrest, do you believe that they were related at all to the 11 prior shootings?
No, sir.
So it's simply copycat?
Yes, sir.
You said 3 18-year-olds. You also said a 19-year-old. Is there 4 people, 3 people, or exactly how many people were arrested?
3 people arrested, all 18 years of age.
What about the 19-year-old that he mentioned?
I think it was just misspoken.
Can you elaborate on how the person of interest is linked to the freeway shooting?
No, I am not at liberty really to discuss that. Again, I don't do it to be difficult at all, sir. I just can't compromise the investigation for the sake of the story. And I know a lot of these pieces you all want us to fill in, and I completely understand that. But it doesn't help the case move forward. All it does is fill in pieces so people know more what's going on. What really needs to be the message out there from you and from me is keep calling in tips, keep paying attention to what's going on. As we continue to saturate this message down into society where it's not just the people watching the news and watching and reading the paper, but it's the people that are out there driving the street or that just live in their neighborhoods in the comfort of their own homes to know what's going on and pay attention to suspicious activity in their neighborhoods and on the roadways.
Today's the start of NFL. There's going to be a lot of people driving over to Cardinal Stadium using I-10. Do you have extra task force out there today to help with those patrols and with surveillance?
The question was, do we have extra people out because it's NFL Sunday and the Cardinal Stadium has a game? The answer to that question is we have an incredibly large footprint along the I-10 corridor.
Do you have a sense of driving that corridor? It looks very difficult to lie on the side of the freeway with a gun. Do you think that these shots were fired from another vehicle?
I think we have different MOs. I think there's different people doing different things. And I would tell you that at this point, I'm not ruling anything out.
So you think it's more than one person then?
I think there are 3 different MOs. I couldn't tell you if it's more people or it's the same group of people or it's a guy changing what he's doing. I just know that you have, and just let me explain that just so I clear it up a little bit. We have the shootings where we actually have a bullet hole in a vehicle. I think that's different than the ones where we have a projectile. And then I think what happened out on the east side on State Route 202, I think that was a road rage incident, and I think that's different. So that's why I come up with 3 different things.
But the bullet holes, do you think that those were shot from vehicle to vehicle?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
And all the incidents yesterday were all projectile. Nothing was a bullet yesterday.
Correct.
And the location of yesterday's incident?
State Route 24 in Ellsworth. That's the new piece of roadway that goes from 202 Santan down to Mesa Gateway Airport. And the other one was in Queen Creek. And Sheriff, I'm not sure that it...
Ellsworth and Queen Creek was the first that came to our attention. And by the way, how we got involved, although I told all my people to be on the alert. That is our jurisdiction where this incident occurred. With the 2 witnesses, we did find a rock in the vehicle and did get the license number. So I think that was very critical to developing.
You said this happened over a 4-hour period. How many specific incidents were there?
According to the suspects, there was about 10. 2 of them were right off the freeway.
The 2 reported incidents happened within 10 minutes of each other.
Yes.
The one on Ellsworth Road in Mesa jurisdiction, and about 10 minutes later just to the south in Maricopa County's jurisdiction.
Location?
Did they do it just last night, or are they part of the last 2 weeks?
Last night. It was
Just last night.
3 to 7, according to them.
You don't believe these suspects were involved in any of the other incidents that either are included in the I-10 freeway shooting investigation or kind of on the fringe?
No, sir.
Did they tell you at all why they were doing this? Is it just, I mean...
I have not spoken personally to investigators, Sheriff. I don't know if you have information on why they said why they were doing it.
Not really. They admitted doing it. The first guy, very interesting that the vehicle that he was sleeping, the 18-year-old, was sleeping in the car. That was his domicile for a while when all this was going on. So evidently he probably had some domestic problems too.
With the shootings that involve the bullets, do you have a theory as to whether those happen from the side of the interstate or if someone is potentially in a car doing that?
I don't have the liberty to discuss that at this time, sir. Anyway, I think that's about all we have to add. If you guys need follow-up information, I suggest you get with the PIOs from our jurisdictions. I think the one who has probably the most complete story will be Bart Graves from the Arizona Department of Public Safety. Again, thank you for all coming out on Sunday afternoon to talk about this. Again, I need people to stay vigilant, continue to report crimes. We have a $20,000 reward, and somebody out there knows something, and I need to know what they know. But again, thank you.
Are you going to increase the award? The 20,000 hasn't brought anybody forward yet.
Obviously, those discussions are ongoing, but I would say 850 tips, we're doing okay. So.
Are the flashing warnings going to remain?
Yes. Yes, absolutely, because I think it gets down to all levels of society. Everybody gets to see it. Everybody that gets near the freeway sees the sign. It's just not news people reading the newspaper or watching TV. I think you get everybody, so we'll continue with that. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey guys, I will be sending out a press release with more information, names, charges, and all that. They'll be coming from my office.
Any of the vehicles that these guys linked on, were they occupied or unoccupied?
Occupied.
All of them.
Yeah, that'll be in the press
One
release.
vehicle, right?
I'm sorry?
They were just using one vehicle, these
Yes.
teams? They were
All right, guys, so that was a full update from both MCSO and DPS. That was held yesterday afternoon around 1 o'clock yesterday. Danielle Miller was assigned to that story. Thought I'd share that press conference for you in full so you could get the full update versus just the minute-and-a-half story that aired on the evening newscast last night. Meanwhile, we have breaking news. I'm going to show you these aerials really quickly. A professor shot and killed on campus this morning. Awful story. The school completely on lockdown. This is in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. Specifically, a professor shot and killed today at Delta State University. The school is on lockdown. These are live aerials that are coming in right now. The school is not in Jackson, Mississippi. It's in Cleveland, Mississippi. The school tweeted about the incident as well, confirmed the fatality. Let me see if I can find the tweets for you guys. This is breaking news, guys. Gonna go ahead and show you this tweet quickly.
When
Delta
things
State
just
University
come
confirmed
together.
1 fatality. Campus remains under lockdown. Please stay inside and away from windows. These are live aerials of the school. Professor shot and killed. Campus under lockdown as police still shooting for the gunmen. Again, I'm getting this information from Fox News National. Male professor dead in a shooting today. Campus under lockdown, still looking for the shooter. And right now they have not issued a description of that shooter. So I'm going to work to get more information. In the meantime, we have these live aerials coming in. Right now, the university is not identifying the victim in this situation because it is an active situation as they look for the suspect. Right now, we don't know if anyone else has been wounded other than the professor who was shot and killed. Again, this is in Mississippi at Delta State University. Interestingly enough, students and faculty at the school are being advised to stay away from windows. Lockdown began at 10:45 this morning, Mississippi time, so a couple hours ago, with the school advising students to take shelter. Now, this school, Delta State University, has about 4,000 students, and this is obviously a very sad situation, an active shooter situation. And that's all we know right now. Cleveland is a small town about 38 miles northeast of Greenville, Mississippi. The town itself only has about 12,000 people. I know a lot of you guys in the chat room asking if the professor was killed by a student or what. We don't have any details about the shooter right now. It's still an active situation, so we're going to work to get more information for you guys. Stand by. All right, guys, let's go ahead and look at the latest tweets from Delta State. Last they tweeted was 41 minutes ago. Campus remains under lockdown. Please do not leave the building. Stay away from windows. More information sent out as available. So this is interesting in general. They're using social media to communicate with students who are all in classrooms. Obviously, everyone on their phone. Delta State logically tweeting out information, tweeting out where emergency management has been set up, tweeting out any details that they can officially release. Again, campus was under lockdown, encouraging students and professors, staff, everyone, faculty to stay inside, stay away from windows. Very, very disturbing situation more than 2 hours ago, saying an active shooter spotted on campus. It's kind of, if you think about this, these are terrifying tweets to read coming in from your school. So again, these are live images of the university coming in. And this is a breaking situation that is just unfolding again. They're still looking for the shooter. All right, why don't I just recap details for you guys really quickly, those of you just joining. So give me a second, I'll be doing that in 1 minute. All right, again, this is what we know so far. A male professor on campus has died in a shooting on campus this morning. Campus is under lockdown. They are looking for the shooter. I don't know exactly what is happening right now. You can see the students currently walking on campus. Maybe they're trying to find a safe way. It looks like all of their hands are up to show that they aren't armed. I think that's what I'm seeing right now. It looks like every student that is exiting campus have their arms up to show that they are not armed students. This is fascinating to look at these live images, see how the school is treating this situation, how they're getting students from one place to another. Students walking, again, hands up at this university. This is Delta State University. It is in Mississippi, in a small town of Cleveland, Mississippi. Only about 12,000 people in the entire town of Cleveland, Mississippi. 4,000 students at the school itself, Delta State University. The gunman is still at large. We don't have a description of the gunman currently, and the university has not identified the professor who has died because it's still an active situation. Again, these images are coming in to us live from Mississippi, so forgive us. It's a little spotty, our aerials coming in and out, so if the screen dips to black, forgive us. It doesn't mean we're done with the show. It is just the feed that we are currently getting in from Mississippi. The shooting all took place a little over 2 hours ago. The lockdown began at 10:45 Mississippi time, which was about 8:45 here in Arizona. You can see police units involved, many officials working to try to track down this gunman. The school communicating with students, staff, and faculty through Twitter, making announcements through that. Again, a school on lockdown as they search for this gunman. Again, we are looking at live aerials coming in from Delta State University. You see the students walking with their hands up. Mike, are you seeing this? It's kind of crazy how the students have to walk with their hands up, hands on their head, to show that they're not armed just to get from one place to another. Oh, in Columbine, they did the same
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Hi, that is so crazy to just look at. And obviously scary as well, because again, the shooter is still out there. They are looking for this gunman. Knowing that he could possibly be an active shooter is quite alarming. We don't know a lot of details. We do know that a professor was shot and killed. Don't know at this point whether that professor specifically was targeted or if it was a random act, because we don't have information right now. We're still looking for the gunman. The school has not released any description of the shooter. Again, these are live aerials coming into us now from Delta State University, which is a university about 4,000 students in Cleveland, Mississippi. I'm going to go ahead and read comments, questions in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. First of all, Lana Caruso asking, did the gunman fire several shots or just went after one person? Lana, I don't have any of that information right now. Again, all the information I have coming in from Fox News National, I have given to you. What I can do is I can go ahead and search our Associated Press wires to see if they have any information that Fox News didn't already report. I saw in the chat room that Bina feels that this professor was specifically targeted. Again, we don't have any information to confirm that or deny that. This is what we have from the Associated Press regarding the active shooter. Professor killed in his office. Okay, so that is that's a bit of new information. We know the professor was killed in his office at the school. Campus on lockdown. Shooter on the loose. The victim is a dead man in his mid-50s, killed inside an office. That is really, really sad. School is still on lockdown. Active situation looking for this shooter. Apparently, let me see if there's any additional information about the victim. Doesn't look like there is, but right now we at least have that information for you guys. Obviously, a super sad situation. We'll keep you updated, guys, here on News Now. All right, guys, Andrea Robinson joining me now. Andrea, you have just stepped on the set during a really intense situation. We were not expecting this kind of breaking news. I just feel like it's crazy to me today because if you look at the title, for example, of this event, I'm already saying update on the search for the I-10 shooter. So there's that. Then there's the whole story out of Kentucky this morning / overnight, which is the craziest story.
There.
Yeah, the state trooper, that is heartbreaking. I'll give you guys more details about that story a little later on, but basically just the fact that we're almost becoming numb to
It's
the
like
news of another shooting.
Another day, another shooting, yet the same circumstances. Somebody that is
angry or something.
Disgruntled, somebody's mental status is obviously not up to par. And unfortunately, I mean, how many more of these do we have to go through?
This one, for example, professor in his 50s killed in his office.
Sitting there working like any other person would on a Monday morning.
And in that situation, you think about it, I'm like, that has to be targeted then.
Well, then that's
versus
the
like
thing.
it's just out and about and not shooting random people like a mass shooting.
That's when you start to think about it. Was it a disgruntled student? Was it somebody that
disgruntled fellow professor? Maybe that professor got promoted. I don't know. And you think about, I mean, especially, we were hit hard a few weeks ago when the reporter and the photographer were killed in Virginia. And it was just like a disgruntled employee. And how many people have to be disgruntled? Like it's...
Well, and that one too, I mean, going back to that, that's so scary because that person hadn't even worked at that station for
in 2 years.
2 years, yet still held on to that rage and that unhappiness, and it just festered and boiled and turned into that. It's just disheartening. It's hard to even wrap your mind around that because I, again, always go back to the fact that, mental illness is a debilitating disease, and these people are not treated. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know where to go get help, and it continues on and it
spirals
builds.
And it builds. And that's the problem. I think it comes down to the fact that it builds, because you can have a mental illness and be fully functioning.
Absolutely.
You can have from something more mild like depression to something more severe like schizophrenia. If you have the proper medication, the therapy, all of that combined, you're good.
And so
but
many
if you don't have that
times, all these people that have suffered that then turn it into some sort of violent act like a shooting or a mass killing or something like that. You look back and of course it's like pointing fingers to the parents and this, so how did you not know, and how didn't you see your kid doing this and that? And oftentimes I think that everybody gets so wrapped up in their own life and they just see it for what it is, and they didn't really see like that their kid changing before their eyes. And
and I think beyond that, it's hard for the parents, it's hard for the family members, because in the beginning you can be there nonstop, but after a while it becomes emotionally draining.
Well, and when you have the Virginia shooter is a 40-some-year-old man. I mean, it's not like he's living with his parents and they have a watchful eye over him.
Right.
But I always think back, I think these people were once young kids with their whole life in front of them. They were innocent and they were naive to the world, and they were perfect at one time in their life. And then when did that all change? And when did the rage happen?
It builds.
What happened to change their whole mind?
Well, they can be
this.
predisposed genetically to acquiring mental illness, but just because you're predisposed to it doesn't mean you're going to get it. Something has to trigger it.
It's just like growing up in an abusive home doesn't mean that you are for sure going to be an abuser, but it does definitely set the groundwork, if you will, for perhaps being like that. But I don't know. It's
super
I don't
sad.
think it's meant for us to make sense of it, but
again, it's about getting the treatment, and it's that rage, that buildup. Somehow they justify it. Somehow, I don't know. And I don't know if it's a situation where some people are so depressed and so upset that they've already decided to kill themselves anyway, so they want to take the life of the person that they think got them to that suicidal point. That's the only thing I can think of. For example, with this, like the Virginia shooter, for example. Yeah. He blames them, so he gets rid of them before he kills himself.
Right.
And
we know, suicide is a horrible thing. It's a very selfish act, but when you go about inflicting pain and suffering first on people that you feel wronged you, and then you do that, it just makes the whole situation so much more devastating and worse. I mean, and then to see stuff like this play out every day and people are panicked. I mean, every day. And I really do think that,
let's scoot over.
I think that a lot of times, you and I, being that we read this every day, we talk about this stuff every day, we live in a different sort of world that I'm constantly thinking about these
But
things.
I hate constantly thinking about it.
I hate it too. Sometimes I wish I were like friends of mine that have no, really care about news or things that are going on in the world, and they don't turn it on, they don't talk about it, because then they don't deal with it or know about it. But instead, I'm always thinking, 5 steps ahead of me. Like,
I'm always paranoid about
I'm paranoid about everything. I'm paranoid about my kids going places with certain people. I'm paranoid about letting them into a bathroom alone. I'm paranoid about driving on a freeway at 3:30 in the morning. And
last week I was in the hospital and I had like anesthesia done or whatever, and I was too afraid to go into an Uber because I felt like being under the influence I would be susceptible to rape.
To something happening.
I was like
I know.
freaking out. I was like called into favor to one of my friends. I was like, look.
Yeah,
You think the worst because you know the worst case scenario. And again, even though we only those don't happen all the time.
I know, but
we just know about it. So
exactly. And lately it seems like they happen more often than not. It's really hard. It's a scary, scary world.
Yep. So, Jeremiah saying, I've seen at least 2 articles linking this shooting to a shooting earlier today of a woman. The suspect in that case is a Delta State employee, so it's possible that this guy may have shot someone else too.
Wow.
That's really scary too, that he may be going around just shooting people. And Jeremiah, did the woman in that case, did she survive the shooting? I don't know. Was she fatally shot?
Yeah.
And then
I hadn't heard of the 2 links between the 2 stories, but I mean, with a case like this, if it's somebody out there with a gun rampaging, across an area like this, who knows?
KJ is asking, there's more mental illness now than ever before. Why? And then follows up with, because of internet, TV, violence, drugs. I actually want to comment on that. Personal opinion. I think the internet has a lot to do with it, especially things like depression, where you are constantly exposed to everyone's successes.
Yep.
So if you're looking on Twitter or Instagram and Facebook and someone is announcing their engagement or their baby or their happiness or whatever great thing, whatever, you're comparing yourself to them, and it obviously makes you feel bad when you're not getting the same sort of opportunities. And maybe you are getting great opportunities, but you're not even consciously aware that your opportunities are great because you're comparing it to someone else's, and no one ever posts about the bad stuff going on in their lives.
Well, and that's what you have to think about. I mean, this is our life, social media. I mean, it wasn't like this 10 years ago doing this job, but it is how it is. And you're constantly subjecting yourself. You're putting yourself out there. But of course, I'm sorry, but nobody wants to hear about everything negative that's going on all the time and putting that on social media. So a lot of people tend to just put the highlights. It's like their highlight reel, if you will.
Right.
No one's going to put, I yelled at my kids this morning, the morning's not going well, my husband and I are fighting, and I'm, annoyed by the way I look, or I gained 5 pounds.
Or I cried 5 times today.
No one wants to write that stuff about them because they're vulnerable then, and then no one really wants to read all that stuff. So yeah, people put the good stuff out there, and then you see it as like, oh, their life is perfect, when in reality it is not perfect. It's far from that. But then you compare, and then you start to dig yourself into this sad hole. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that has a lot. And I do think that there's just a level of violence in this day and age that has grown. But I think definitely, the younger kids are way more advanced and developed and subjected to more mature things than we were when we were that age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's probably also the internet's fault.
Yeah.
And kids are maturing at a faster rate. Again, it's fascinating to see 12-year-olds or 11-year-olds, I think they talk about the ways they dress. I'm like...
Or to hear 9-year-olds speak the way they do. My son, who's 5, rides a school bus to and from school every day. And the other day, of course, the older kids tell me when they get off, so-and-so was yelling, at a 9-year-old and using, the F word and these bad words and this and that. And I'm thinking, okay, my 5-year-old's sitting right there and listening to all this, and this poor bus driver is having to man all these kids while driving a bus as safely as possible. And I'm thinking, okay, well, first of all, those kids have to know that the F word is a bad word, so they've heard it some other time in a context they shouldn't have, and that they're using it so freely. So yeah, they're way beyond the maturity, maybe they're not mature, but way beyond the years and the way they speak than we ever were.
But then is it the internet to blame and their access to
I think it's
things
a mix
like
of
that,
everything.
or the
parents? I
parenting?
think
Bad
it's a mix of
parenting?
all of that. Parenting, I think it's internet. I think that it's just harder to raise kids these days, at least to keep them somewhat on the right path.
Right.
You know?
It's, I don't know. It's well. Speaking of parenting, actually, a great transition.
Oh yes,
to
what? What's
our
going? Okay,
topics.
parenting. Yes.
Parenting. One of the stories you brought up when I stopped by the set this morning while you were on air for the morning show was this controversy over Molly Sims and her comment about moms getting out of yoga pants.
Okay, so well, first of all, I'm driving in this morning. I always listen to Fox and Friends. I listen to all the national shows, and there was this story out about how she at first was I don't think she really got totally criticized for this, but the headline said, Molly's advice to other moms, get out of your yoga pants. So I read it a little bit more to see actually what she said. It was an interview she did. She just had her second baby. She's a supermodel. She looks amazing. But she always, in every interview I've seen her in, she just seems very real.
Right.
And everyone's going to say, oh, she's not real. Look at her in a bikini. She's a supermodel. Okay, but that's her job. It's her job to look that way.
Right.
She gets paid to do that.
We could look at her Instagram.
Right, and look at how beautiful she is and her sweet husband and cute kids. So I have to say that I'm not saying get out of I love to live in like yoga pants and comfy clothes on the weekend because we have to get ready for work 5 days a week. I don't feel like doing that on Saturday. But I remember when I first had my first baby, nothing fits you. The only thing that feels somewhat good is comfy yoga pants. However, after 8 weeks of being in them, you kind of have to tell yourself mentally, okay, I have to pull myself together. I might be 20 pounds overweight still, but I need to do myself a favor, fix myself up, put some real clothes on, and realize that I still have it in me to do that. I can still but you feel there's so many crazy emotions that happen when you have a baby. It is the weirdest thing.
Going back to our previous topic about mental illness, then some moms have to deal with depression right after having kids.
Light, mild depression, they just call it baby blues, is totally normal. And I know for especially with my husband, with my first son, for the first 3 weeks, I was definitely not myself. You cry all the time and you're happy, but you're sad because your life just changed and changed for the better, but you don't know how to make it all work.
And then it's forever.
And so then the second time around, it lasted a little bit longer, and it worries you a little bit because you're so happy about what you have and the blessing that was given to you, but yet you're you just don't feel like yourself. It's kind of like you're an outer body experience, and and the anxiety, especially of knowing, I knew I had to go back to work, and how was I going to do all this? And
it probably just seems overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming.
It's wait, now I'm responsible for this individual, but I still have to work. When do I get time for myself?
How am I going to lose this weight to go back to work? How am I? And I know that's shouldn't be a concern, but it is
in
a
our
concern.
industry specifically. When you're on camera, you do have to maintain whatever image you've already put out there. But she's
right. When you've spent 6 weeks, I literally, with my first son, I had him in July. It was so hot. I did not leave the house for 3 weeks. Did not leave the house. That's not good for your brain, right? Yeah. So finally I had a friend's get dressed, get yourself together. We're going to go to the mall. And I'm we can't go to the mall. I can't fit in any clothes, and I'm not going to be able to
maxi dresses.
Oh yeah,
maxi dresses. If you're fluctuating when it comes to weight, maxi dresses are where it's at. People cannot.
You got it. I know. No, it's true. But so I kind of get where she's going with that. I don't think she's totally off base.
Wow, Robert and Tom K, but Tom K talking about how he loves yoga pants. Robert loving yoga pants.
Especially if they're Lulu
Apple
yoga
Snapple
pants.
Wearing yoga shorts right now. That is great. Which, you know what, this is also a great transition to our other topic, because when you have kids, especially when you're famous, you get nannies typically.
You need help.
And one of the stories I saw trending this morning on Facebook, I saw the name Christie Teigen trending, and I've mentioned her here on News Now before because I'm obsessed with her. John Legend's wife. She is so fun to follow on Twitter. She's
hilarious.
Just tell it like it is, jokes around. Yeah. Super great. Also, speaking of supermodels, another person who
she's a
has
supermodel.
been on the cover of Sports Illustrated, those sort of things.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a supermodel, also known for kind of her wit and charm.
Yeah, and like you said, telling it like it is.
And so she makes a comment about how she's gonna make her thing with John is no hot nannies, and then even though she trusts her husband, John as in John Legend, guys can always, let me get the exact. I don't want to mess it up, so I want to get the exact quote right.
No hot nannies, drivers, or maids.
Yeah, I do want to have kids one day, so it's something I have to think about. But the rule is no hot nannies. I trust John, but you never know with these men. And
she got a lot of backlash for this, didn't she?
She also said she has to keep an eye on her cute assistant, even though it doesn't really matter what you look like. Sometimes cabin fever just strikes, and men do the do.
Well, and come on now. Recently, we've had how many stories out about these celebrity men that have been known to cheat on their wives
with the nannies with the help. I mean, that was the Ben Affleck accusation. Next thing you know, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner are splitting, and then there's so many nanny stories. It's always the nanny.
Always. Sienna Miller wasn't her husband.
I think so.
Wasn't there a nanny involved in that one? Anyway,
there's probably an article out there about
just
about famous men hooking up with nannies. For example, I think Ryan Phillippe wasn't. His was just a fellow actress. But Arnold Schwarzenegger's secret love child.
He had a baby that grew up to be for years
living in Bakersfield, California. That was a big shocker.
Yeah. I know that one was a
big
shocker.
And that was with the nanny.
But I sometimes think it's just because they're, I don't know. I wouldn't have criticized her for saying that. She's being kind of funny and
I get where she's coming from. Yeah, because I wouldn't hire a hot nanny. It doesn't matter how secure you are in your relationship. I'm not married and I don't have kids right now, so I'm just gonna say that I imagine future me would not hire a hot nanny.
I don't know. I think my nanny that I have
a lesbian
is pretty
nanny. Boom.
Who just said that?
No, I said that. I just came up with it. There you go.
Okay. Yay. She came up with that.
I think that's a good idea.
That's your game plan.
I think it's a great idea. So
I don't know. I always think that if my husband was going to cheat, whether I had a hot nanny or not, he was going to cheat anyway.
But sometimes people cheat. Sometimes there's just so much temptation right in front of you.
If he's going to cheat because of the temptation in front of him, then
he's not a good person to begin with.
Just be done with me. Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I don't really have a lot of sympathy for cheaters. I'm not good with second chances when that stuff happens.
Yeah, it's Mark is so. There's salad wraps.
Oh, from where?
From where? If there's one with chicken, can you bring it?
Let's go. The eatery. Oh, I'm gonna go out and look. I'll go look for us.
Yeah, if there's some chicken
done.
or vegetables, I'm very interested in this. Viewers know here. There's always food that comes in.
I know. But she's like this big around. You don't ever see the whole Samia. She's really teeny, so I don't know where it goes when she eats it.
It's there.
No.
It's like a maxi dress.
It's nowhere. No, I'm sitting next to her. It's nowhere.
Says Andrea, who's perfect, but and so disciplined. I'm still so impressed.
She does have blueberries today. I'm impressed by that.
I have blueberries. I have my high protein kashi bar.
I'm okay with that, and a little cheese stick.
I am really
to balance out.
I'm very dedicated to my diet most of the time.
I know because I know you've been making changes, good changes.
Most of the time, though, last week it was very difficult because when we had Jamie Kennedy on, for example, the Improv, just as like a thank you or whatever, because we have a pretty good relationship with the Tempe Improv, brought me edible arrangements, chocolate-covered fruit, so those were delicious. I guess it was dark chocolate.
The chocolate-covered pineapple and the chocolate-covered bananas.
The bananas were in the box. There were no pineapples. Bananas were good.
Weren't they good? Aren't those good? Yeah.
And then that afternoon we had Michelle Donady with AAA who brought in donuts from Bosa.
Oh, those are.
And then on Monday, Labor Day. Were you here on Monday?
Yeah, I was here on Labor Day.
But you weren't here when Corey came in?
I don't think so.
We had like 12 boxes of donuts. I'm not donuts, sorry, cupcakes. Cupcakes and donuts from Urban Cookies.
Oh, I love Urban Cookies.
And I took a box of cupcakes home. I only ate one.
Look at Mark, security Mark.
I only ate one.
You are amazing.
But I gave them to my friends.
Look at that.
And it's very difficult.
That looks good.
Hold on. What is
it? Looks like chicken and a little bit of tomato.
Tomato.
Maybe a light mayo type sauce or an Italian dressing. A whole wheat wrap, lettuce. Is that a little bacon? Do you not do bacon?
I don't eat bacon.
Okay, we have to pick out the chicken. Or you'll give it to somebody else to eat.
Someone will eat it.
Yeah. The next guest on your show will eat it.
Apple Snapple saying, Andrea, your arms are impressive. Les Chalmaine, I hate skinny pants on men. I blame Justin Bieber for that.
Oh, that's hysterical. Thanks, Apple Snapple. You made my day.
Deborah saying, I gained 20 pounds by looking at a Chewy bar. Oh, guys.
Don't you? I still swear one day when I get to heaven, calories won't count. So this will all be for everything.
You can eat everything then.
Exactly.
It'll all make sense.
Everything.
Robert making a good point to my previous comment about the lesbian nanny. He's like, wait, then the mom will cheat.
Oh, well, yeah.
But
depends.
I'm good.
And Lana says, I've been busting my butt and cannot lose the weight. Keep trying. Oh, I know. Sometimes it just seems like you're doing all this work and it doesn't help.
It's a combination, too, of the exercise plus the right foods that combine.
I know. And the eating part, I swear, is the hardest. The working out, but staying disciplined with eating is hard.
It is hard, especially when there's so much temptation everywhere. It's kind of like cheating in relationships, but cheating on diets. Like when you're driving around and you see McDonald's.
Right.
That's not like the super, super hot woman, but it's the woman that somehow you just want to do.
The one thing I do love from McDonald's and would still eat if I allowed myself is, why are their vanilla ice cream cones so delicious?
They're so good. And they're only 59 cents.
I know.
59
when
cents.
I was pregnant with, I can't remember, with Kaylee or Carter, John Bilo, he was used to work here. He retired a couple years ago, right when I came back. Anyways, he and I would go shoot stories, and when I was pregnant, every time during the week, I would make him stop here for an ice cream cone. I'd buy him his, of course, for stopping, but I would eat one like 3 days a week because they were so good. And I could go for one now.
If you got pregnant again,
I'm
you'd
not
allow
going
yourself
to. I would allow myself, but I'm not going to.
But I'm just saying hypothetical situation.
Yeah. I once ate a half of a gallon of ice cream on the way home from work, from the grocery store to work when I was pregnant, because I wanted strawberry ice cream so badly.
What is that?
Oh my gosh, Mark!
You're so kind. Mark, by the way, I think
You'll
there's
eat
bacon
that,
in that
won't
wrap,
you?
and I don't eat bacon.
But you want to take
okay.
it back?
Yeah.
Because somebody else will eat it.
Yeah.
That you'll eat. Okay, don't eat that part of the
Don't
salad
eat the
because it's
bacon.
baked. But look
but
at
I'll
that.
eat that. That's
and look
good.
at that.
That's good. Yeah.
Pears, nuts, goat
sounds-
cheese. That looks good.
I'll be healthy.
Yeah, that's good.
Speaking of, not everyone has the luxury of having the security guard bring them salad.
I know. You have a great working relationship with Mark.
I love Mark. Mark and I are
do
like
too.
this.
Mark's the best.
And so it's sometimes hard to stick on a diet
I know,
because
especially
McDonald's is
here.
everywhere.
But
also in
here,
this newsroom,
working here,
in the
everyone's
morning
bringing-
shift specifically.
I know, because we always have food.
You guys have the guests in the kitchen,
I know.
and
then somebody
someone
goes
will bring
and-
something, and it's my favorite shift.
Clearly, it's the best shift
It
here.
is. Minus the waking up early.
Yeah. But I mean, you've got food, great people.
Great people.
Fun
oh my
times.
Gosh, speaking of great
It
people.
doesn't sound very modest, me talking about us
Well,
like that.
I saw, Kristen's post on Facebook today was
I
super
know.
emotional. I don't know if you
I
guys...
got sappy on my Facebook
I almost
with her.
cried when I watched you guys on the morning show. I was doing my makeup. It was like the 7:30,
Yeah.
around 7:15. And this morning, we made the big announcement that Kristen Anderson
last week.
is leaving the morning show. This is her last week. She starts in LA next week on Hallmark Channel. And one of the things that you guys emphasize in her Facebook post too, just about the people here. You don't find people that
In
are
this
this nice.
business.
Exactly. That's the one thing everyone asks me about. Like, the most surprising thing about coming to Phoenix and the station is there's not that newsroom drama that's in every
that
other
big-headed ego.
Yeah, like the newsroom drama, the cattiness,
Those people seem to not last around here.
This just doesn't have it here.
Yeah, I mean, granted, along the years, there's been maybe one or two, whatever. There's always somebody, But for the most part, no. And that's the thing is, like, everybody that's come here, left and gone somewhere, they always say that's what they miss the most.
The people.
You go for another opportunity or whatever somewhere else, but the one thing that they miss is the people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I don't think I could get up at 2:30 every morning if I didn't like the people I worked with. I couldn't have done it this long, that's for sure. No way.
I mean, it is it's a shift that you have to get
It's a little taxing.
My first job in news was as a morning show reporter in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I still remember having to get into work at 4 was so hard. Oh my gosh.
And I just, I mean, driving into work
just
at 3:30.
waking up when it's dark. Waking up when it's dark. That's what it is.
When most people are rolling over to go sleep for a few more hours or getting up to go to the bathroom, or some people are just getting in from the night.
But I will say, then you also feel like you have more hours in a day.
Yeah,
Then you can go home and nap, and then you still have a day when you wake up.
So before kids, I would take a nap here and there. Yeah. Okay, I'm coming.
Man. Rick is intervening.
See, I have to do
I think
promos
he's just
now.
jealous because he didn't get to go on the show today. Come on
You're
the show.
up next. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, I'm coming. Okay. Okay. She's not here, though. I'll come. Okay, I better go do promos.
All right.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry. Is that okay if I leave now?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're
okay.
good. Thank
Enjoy
you.
your salads.
I will.
Okay, and I'll come back again and visit.
Yay.
Thanks for having me, everyone. You have great viewers.
Great viewers.
Great viewers.
And they mix well with the great newsroom environment we have here.
They're really nice, too.
Very nice.
Okay, enjoy. I'll see you later.
Sounds good, Andrea. Andrea Robinson, you can find her at Andrea Fox 10 on Twitter. I'm just going to move her seat over so I can take over this whole set. It looks like we actually got our aerials back. For a while, we had lost the aerials coming in from Mississippi from that unfortunate, tragic shooting. You guys remember the feed was in and out. So right now, it looks like we have the feed in once again. So I'm going to take you guys back now to Mississippi where these aerials are coming in. Again, a really tragic situation. I'm going to work to get more information. School is on lockdown. Search for the shooter. Professor shot and killed in his office on campus. I'm going to work to get more information. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and continue to show you guys these aerials. All right, so what we know so far about the victim, he was a history professor, a man in his 50s. He was shot and killed in his office. We don't have much of a description of the suspect, but according to Mississippi Department of Public Safety, the suspect is no longer believed to be on the school's campus. Although authorities have not identified the professor, many different news outlets have identified him as Professor Ethan Schmidt. He was an assistant professor of history who had recently published his second book. This is information I'm getting on foxnews.com right now. I am going to go ahead and pull up his profile from the Delta State website. So you guys, and it looks like we lost the feed anyway, so now would be the time to show you this. Ethan A. Schmidt, assistant professor of American history, PhD, the University of Kansas, shot and killed. Sad, sad situation. This was all of his information. Undergrad courses taught, U.S. history, lots of U.S. history classes, American colonies, American Revolution, the Old South, Native American history, baseball, on America. And as you can see, he specialized in the Atlantic world with an emphasis on the interactions between indigenous people and European colonists. He completed his PhD 8 years ago at the University of Kansas. He has presented his research at numerous conferences and other venues. Wow. Before coming to Delta State, Dr. Schmidt taught for 6 years at Texas Tech in Lubbock, Texas, where he was the recipient of the President's Award for Excellence in Teaching in 2011, as well as Innovative Teaching Award from TTU's Freshman Seminar Program in 2010. Again, this is, it looks like we have lost the aerials. We no longer have the aerials coming in from Mississippi, but here is the photo of the victim, who has been identified from some local outlets over there. What else can we tell you? Schmidt, Ethan Schmidt, Professor Schmidt, was a member of a lot of organizations at the school as well, including the Diversity Committee and the Student Success Task Force. Cleveland Police, Mississippi Highway Patrol, and the County Sheriff's Department are assisting in the investigation. Again, Cleveland Police as in Cleveland, Mississippi, guys, not Ohio. This town where the school is located is also named Cleveland. Cleveland, Mississippi has a total of about 12,000 people. The school itself with just under 4,000 students. Lockdown began at 10:45 Mississippi time, so 8:45 here. And police helicopters were in the air. Officers were sweeping buildings. But again, now it's believed that the shooter is no longer on campus. Here are aerials that we got for you guys earlier today of the school itself. Again, a really, really sad situation there. Oop. Again, a tragic situation. I do see in the chat room some talk about the shooter being another professor. I have not confirmed that. That's why I'm not personally stating that. Again, my information is coming from Fox News National as well as the Associated Press. The latest news coming from the Associated Press, going to go ahead and read that to you. Again, professor killed in his office. History professor Ethan Schmidt killed inside an office in Job Hall. Not immediately clear if anyone else was wounded. Schmidt directed the first-year seminar program and specialized in Native American and colonial history, which another professor at the school told local media. Very, very sad. He said Dr. Ethan Schmidt was a terrific family man, a good friend, a true son of Peabody, Kansas, and his beloved Emporia State University. Again, officials don't think that the suspect is on campus, but they did not elaborate as to how they reached that conclusion or where they think the suspect might be or who the suspect might be. One of the students described what it was like to be under lockdown, saying there were like people banging on the doors to have somebody let them in. It was pretty terrifying to hear people banging on the door. Wow, that's crazy. Freshman Noah Joyner, who's 18 years old, said that. He said that he hunkered down in a bathroom of his dorm building and heard others desperate to get in when reports of the shooter spread. That is really very, very crazy. So again, according to the Associated Press, according to Fox News, I have not gotten official information that the shooter was a fellow professor, but there you see the picture of the victim, Ethan Schmidt. And these are the aerials that were sent to us earlier of the university itself. All right, guys, since we are on the topic of shootings and violence and people being targeted, I think it's now time to, transition to another topic, specifically another shooting that happened not too far, I guess, from Mississippi, Kentucky. Actually, it could be kind of far. I'm maybe being ignorant when making that statement. But a Kentucky state trooper shot and killed. He was 31 years old. He was trying to pull over the suspect. Suspect fled. He was pursuing him for about 9 miles when suddenly the suspect stopped abruptly, which caused the trooper to crash into the back of the suspect's vehicle. After that happened, the suspect started shooting at the trooper, and unfortunately, the trooper did not survive. He was 31 years old. It's a sad situation there. We did get an update. We had a press conference early this morning, so what I'm going to do for you guys is play that video for you in just a second. I'm going to show you some of the video that came in to us from overnight. This is video of the scene in Kentucky. You can see the backup for miles because of the crash. Lots of officers responding to the situation. Here's an image of the state trooper who lost his life. He was a rookie state trooper. He had only worked there, I think, since the beginning of this year, which is very sad. He was 31 years old, and he shot and killed Trooper Joseph Cameron Ponder, who was pronounced dead at a Princeton, Kentucky hospital after being shot multiple times late last night. This happened on Interstate 24 in the western part of the state around 10:20 p.m. local time last night. Just a really sad situation. This is the photo right there. Now we have a photo of the suspect who was also shot and killed after a manhunt, after they were looking for him. This individual, 25-year-old Joseph Thomas Johnson Shanks, when police eventually encountered him, Joseph Thomas Johnson Shanks did not drop his weapon. That's when police opened fire, shot and killed him. So that is what we know there. I'm going to go ahead and play for you the press conference from authorities that happened this morning so you can get a full update from them.
At that point, the suspect leaned out of the driver's side window and fired multiple rounds at the trooper car, striking the hood, the windshield, and striking our trooper. The trooper was transported to Caldwell Medical Center last night, where he succumbed to his injuries as well.
So which way were they headed on 24?
They were headed westbound last night on Interstate 24.
Was this a speeding or other reason for the crash?
I'm not sure at this time what the initiation of the traffic stop was.
What can you tell us about Trooper Ponder as far as his family? He's married, he had kids?
Trooper Ponder was single. He did not have any kids.
He was in the Navy, correct?
He was a veteran of the U.S. Navy prior to joining our state police.
Did the suspect have to be transported away from the area that he was shot in order for a helicopter to take him away? What was the transportation like?
He was transported via ambulance to the medical center.
Have any charges been filed against the other occupants of the suspect's vehicle?
I'm not sure at this time. There were three other occupants in the vehicle. One female, one adult female, and 2 juvenile children.
Were they cooperative when police took them into custody?
The occupants wasn't taken into custody this morning. They were, or last night, they were detained, and I'm not sure right now if anybody's been charged.
Were they answering questions? Were they cooperative?
I don't know. This is an ongoing criminal investigation for us. I will update later. I plan to hold a news conference at our state police post at 4 p.m. this afternoon with any further updates.
Were the other people in the car related to Johnson Shanks at all?
That I do not know. I don't know the names of the other folks that were inside that vehicle.
There was a medical helicopter that landed in Eddy Bay. What was the reasoning for that?
Once he was shot by our SRT, we just immediately notified an air ambulance. We didn't know what type of injuries he had received. We just wanted him on standby. Once the ground ambulance got there, the decision was made that it would be better just to transport him via ground ambulance.
Trooper, we've heard that the suspect's mother was found dead in her home in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Do you know, have you guys had any correspondence with them, officials down there? Or?
I've not heard that. That's the first I've heard, so I don't know anything about it.
How many times was Johnson Shanks shot by the officers?
This is ongoing criminal investigation, and I really don't know. We will schedule an autopsy. It should be probably tomorrow in Louisville, and we'll find out for sure for that. I do not.
Were any shots fired during the pursuit by the suspect?
During the pursuit of our trooper with the suspect, shots, to my knowledge, no shots were fired until the second stop.
Is there any reason he would have fired instead of just being a traffic stop? Anything about the suspect that would make him inclined to shoot?
I don't know all the history on the suspect at this time, but again, that would be part of our ongoing criminal investigation on his history.
Where's his family being though?
That I do not know. The suspect is from Florissant, Missouri, is where he's from.
Do you know why he was here?
I don't. The only thing I know is he's just traveling through the area on the interstate.
Were they family members, the other occupants of the suspect's vehicle?
I don't know. I don't know the relationship. We don't discuss the types of weapons because it's an ongoing criminal investigation.
Trooper, can you just expand a little here on, I mean, over the past, of course, 6 months, 8 months, a year, there have been so many incidents involving law enforcement officers being shot, killed, and it just seems like, and now it's here. It's happened to you guys.
Yeah, I really don't want to discuss that.
Does this speak to the dangers of what you guys are doing every day?
We face dangers every day that we go out, that we put our uniform on and we go out to protect the public. That's just part of our job. We know the risks that are out there, and we accept those risks.
Nothing's been escalated to ensure you guys' safety?
We're doing our day-to-day jobs just like any other day.
What is it you hope to accomplish by having 24 shut down? What is part of the investigation?
Yes, Interstate 24 is shut down, and it's going to continue to be shut down for several hours. They're processing the crime scene for the incident that occurred on I-24. To my knowledge, we have one of our LICO scanners. We've used that at some of our major crime scenes, so they can do. It's a 3D imaging of the crime scene out there, and they have that, and that's why the interstate's shut down.
This is the second trooper that lost us here.
This is a very sad occasion for us, and yes, this is the second trooper that we've lost in the line of duty this year for the Kentucky State Police, and the second from our post out of Mayfield. We're all just holding together the best that we can, and just continue to do our jobs. It is tough on us, and it's tough on our families.
Where was the suspect found?
He was found in a wooded area between Chelsea Drive and I'm not sure the other road down, but it was a secluded wooded area.
Do you know about the distance from where he killed the trooper to where he was found?
Not exactly. I would probably give a ballpark figure of maybe a couple of miles at the most.
How were you guys able to find him? Helicopter dog. What was he hide? I mean, was he trying to hide somewhere?
Yeah, he was trying to hide in the woods. Once it became daylight, then that helped us to be able to locate him. We had a general knowledge of where we thought he was from this morning, and we were able to contain him where we thought he was. And once it became daylight, when our troopers and our SRT team moved in, they were able to locate him.
Were you able to did you use a canine in the search?
There were several canines here, along with several helicopters. Tennessee Highway Patrol they brought up a couple of helicopters, and they were able to help us assist in the search.
Was he by himself when you found him? Where was the rest of the occupants of the vehicle? They had already been detained?
Yes, the rest of the occupants in the vehicle were detained shortly after the incident. So the suspect, Johnson, was out by himself.
How did you all first learn that Trooper Ponder had been shot? Did someone call 911, or were there other officers following?
When he made his traffic stop and the suspect once he ran his information, found out that he was suspended, he actually called for an additional unit because they were going to transport the passengers because he was not allowed to drive at that point. So we had other officers, some deputies that were in the close proximity when all this went down.
And when the high-speed chase began, was he speaking?
I can't say that it was a high-speed chase. I don't know the speeds. I just know that he started pursuing him after he left.
Do you have a timeline of incidents that happened of what, like specific times of when the shooting occurred as the point when they actually captured him?
If I can refer to my notes.
Yeah, definitely.
Trooper Ponder made the original traffic stop again at around mile marker 58 at approximately 10:20 p.m. last night. After making the traffic stop, the suspect later fled. I don't have the time that we were notified after that, but Trooper Ponder was transported to the Caldwell Medical Center, and he succumbed to his injuries at 11:41 p.m. last night. A search immediately progressed after the second traffic stop. And then he was found approximately 7 a.m. this morning.
Prices like $9,500 off new enclaves or over 12.
That I do not know.
You know what, between that 10:20 and 11:41, you know when Trooper Ponder was shot?
I don't have that timeline with me, I'm sorry.
Was Trooper Ponder able to return fire at all?
That's part of our criminal investigation, and I don't want to go into those details.
So when he was shot, he hadn't got out of the car. He was sitting.
He was still sitting in his vehicle.
Did any of the other people in the suspect's car call 911, or how was Trooper Ponder's discovered?
Again, there was deputies that were in close proximity. I don't know if anybody dialed 911 from the vehicle or any other vehicles there.
You know, his car is kind of in the middle of the highway there. You know, did he veer off the road, or had he stopped when he was shot? Or what?
Trooper Ponder, we believe he was stopped at the when he was shot. He might have tried to move his vehicle after once the shooting occurred, just to try to get out of the line of fire.
Do you know how many shots were fired at the trooper?
We're not going to be able to discuss that because it's ongoing criminal investigation.
Fire any shot? Was he able to pull out his weapon and fire any rounds?
That's part of our criminal investigation. So.
Mr. Thomas, there's lots of first responders here. Can you tell us how many, where are they from?
I don't have a list of all the agencies. We've had multiple agencies from across western Kentucky, multiple fire departments, multiple police departments. I would hate to try to name them all because I might miss somebody, and we're just very thankful for the support that we've had from our local community, from our federal law enforcement officers. Post 2 in Madisonville has sent several troopers here as well to assist us in this.
How would you describe the Kentucky State Police? You guys like a family, close together, everyone know each other well?
Yes, I would say that we're a very close, tight-knit group, and we're all brothers and sisters.
Did you know Trooper Ponder?
I did, yes, sir.
Tell us something about him.
He was very proud to be a Kentucky State Trooper. He was new, he was eager, and just absolutely loved his job.
I understand the Commonwealth Attorney has been here this morning as well as her assistant. Is that a normal procedure when there is an incident like this?
At some of the major scenes, sometimes they do come out, and it's good for that, for them to be able to come out. If we need something, they're here on scene that we can work with them through. So it's not abnormal for them to be at a major scene like this.
I heard you mentioned earlier in the press conference possibly thinking about moving to a different district.
Typically, because he wasn't from our post area, he wanted he'd already had a transfer back in to go back to his where he came from, around Ronnieville, Kentucky.
The 4 o'clock location again?
I'm going to try to hold that at our state police post in Mayfield.
And I'm sorry, do you know when the highway is expected to reopen today?
Once they're done with the processing the crime scene, then it'll be reopened. I can't give a good estimation on that. I would say 2 to 3 more hours, but I don't know. The state police owns a couple of the Leica scanners. They're a 3D imaging scanner. We don't have one at our posts, so we have to borrow those. Sometimes it takes a couple hours for those to get here, and then the operators for that as well.
So if you did confront it, you guys were sharing did find it, how many people were there, and just one individual was found?
I'm not sure how many people were there. I know our special response team, along with numerous troopers and other law enforcement agencies, were holding a perimeter. But I don't know how many people went inside that perimeter as they were looking for him. That's all the questions. This is really all the information that I have at this time. I'll try to update later this afternoon at 1600, 4 p.m. I'll hold a press conference at our state police post just outside the front there. And I'll try to update you at that time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a Mayfield.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was in the process of being transferred to the E-Town post?
He put in a request to transfer, as many of our new guys do when they come out of the academy. Typically they serve, if they're not from that area, they serve a year until that next cadet class graduates, and then they try to transfer back to their home area. Right. It would have been the E-Town.
So the suspect was found in the wooded area, so that's where he was shot.
Yes.
How far back in the woods was it?
I don't know because I didn't go into the woods where he was located.
All right, guys, so that is the full update from officials in Kentucky regarding the state trooper who was shot and killed. That story is just really, really sad, as is this story about the professor who was shot and killed on campus in Mississippi, Delta State University. Again, authorities are not officially confirming who the suspect is. There's some outlets out there, news outlets in Mississippi, that are speculating that the suspect could be the same individual linked to another shooting that happened this morning. That shooting targeted a woman in her 40s. She was fatally shot in a home. There is talk that the suspect shot her, then got into an SUV, went to the campus, shot that professor, and now a manhunt is underway for that individual. That individual believed to be a professor also at that school. His name being reported as, let me get this right. I believe his last name is Lamb, first name Shannon Lamb. So again, this is speculation. None of this has been confirmed by authorities, but this is what I'm hearing from local media outlets out in Mississippi. So that's the update I have right now. Any updates we have regarding the Mississippi shooting, the suspect, we will bring that to you here on News Now. If we get any more live aerials from the school, we'll be covering that. So right now we don't. Right now my live events that are coming in, I will show you. We got the Dow, which is down 60 points. And you have the
right at the top.
State Department briefing, which I don't really feel like showing you guys right now. I do want to show you, however, this video because we haven't even talked weather today, and weather was a major story overnight and this morning. West Valley, you have to look at this video from Buckeye, as well as we have video from Maricopa. Let me just go ahead and pull this up. Here is Liberty Elementary School in Buckeye. Oops, you guys can't see it, but here's Liberty Elementary School out in Buckeye. School completely shut down today. Kids not coming to school because the damage is so severe. Playground completely destroyed after a storm last night. Very crazy to look at.
Ready to go,
and then you have this right here, which is flooding in Maricopa. Multiple vehicles stuck in the mud overnight. Here's this red car. These are aerials that came in this morning. The red car stuck in Sandy Wash. And let's see if I can get any additional information. Last night, just after 10, MCSO officials received a call saying that a truck had been swept away due to the heavy rain on Highway 238. Due to the rain and possible floods, authorities quickly blocked off that road, requested assistance by MDOT. They put up warning signs to warn all drivers that the road might be flooded. Again, you can see, I heard there were multiple vehicles that were stuck in the road, 8 at least, if I recall correctly. Again, this is just off of my memory from what I heard on the morning show this morning. But you can see some of this video is very crazy. I'm going to read some more information that was sent to us by officials. Let's see. Sheriff's deputies maneuvered the heavy rain and washes, almost getting stuck themselves, but they were on their way to help and aid all of those who were stuck. Neighboring firefighters from different agencies attempted to respond. However, due to the rain and flood, they were unsuccessful at getting to the drivers. One individual, Kevin, I believe, was standing on the hood of his truck. He said that his truck was going to be washed away if sheriff's deputies did not arrive quickly on scene. Kevin attempted a daring jump onto a nearby tree where he waited for sheriff's deputies to arrive. His truck was later washed away and is currently stuck in the mud. Again, these were notes that came into us last night. And sheriff's deputies then helped escort people to Gila Bend and to Maricopa, where they left their vehicles behind, as deputies helped every single driver from the wash. No injuries to any of the drivers, thankfully. And these are aerials that Skyfox shot this morning of some of the vehicles that were still stuck in the mud. Oops.
What's the slug on the DPS part of the I-10 shootings?
What do you mean?
All right, guys, it is 11:59, meaning my time is up on the morning edition of News Now. I'll be back with you guys at 1:30. As I mentioned, as of today, we have an entirely new News Now schedule. Thanks to our new hire, Mike Pace will be extending our Fox News Now coverage. So normally you guys have a break between 1:30 and 2:30. That doesn't exist anymore. So doesn't mean you guys can't go to the bathroom, you can't eat. Basically, you have to hang out with us all day. So Mike is going to be taking over from 12 to 1:30. Then we're going to end that event at 1:30. And as soon as we end that one, I'm going to start things up again around 1:35. So lots ahead. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the radar while Mike gets in here, and enjoy hanging with Mike. Stay tuned. Stand by.
All right, guys. Hello, hello. My name is Mike Pace, and this is my debut on Fox News Now. How are y'all doing today? I'm going to be taking some of your questions. We'll take about 5 minutes. You can kind of guys get to know me, and we'll have some fun with this. So it is a great day. It's a great Monday. I hope everyone is having a great day. We got a lot of news for you. We're also going to have Hillary Clinton event that just wrapped up, and we're going to show that to you in its entirety. It's a pretty good event. It goes about an hour, and she says a lot of interesting things, so should be interesting for everybody. So there we go. Yes, and do me a favor and follow me on Twitter, Mike Pace Fox 10. I love all these responses, guys. Let me type in there for you. Good afternoon, everybody. We really enjoy everybody just tuning in here. We got a lot set up for you here this morning. Afternoon now, I should say. It's noon. Well, I've been here for about 3 years in the Phoenix area. My last couple jobs were in broadcasting as well. I came from South Bend, Indiana, and then my previous job, where I first got my first job, was in Joplin, Missouri. So I'm originally from Chicago. I think a lot of people out here in Arizona are from Chicago, right? So we got that going for us. And let me get you all set up here. I wanted to bring up, we're going to be having an awesome talk here because there's a new survey out, and they said that 2% of people have already started their holiday shopping. Can you believe it? Already 2%. That just seems crazy to me, but I guess, when you think about it, we're not too far off from December. Interesting. But wow, some people have already wrapped up their Christmas shopping. They said 2% of those people have already wrapped it up. That's amazing. Kinsey's in. I am live. Say hi, Kinsey.
Hello.
A little shout out to Kinsey. We're going to see her later on in the show today. She just got in. So she's going to get her show lined up and have a lot of talk. But can you believe it? 2% of people have already done with holiday shopping. I didn't even think about that. I first like to see like Halloween come. Then you kind of get in the mood after that because it's November and you got to get ready here. Let me get this going for you guys. Ooh. I know, right? I'd like that, Tommy boy. How about Halloween and Thanksgiving? Why can't they let these others just rest a little? Wow. I don't understand it. I'm going to cue this up for you. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more. When do you guys start your holiday shopping? I want to know that. Because I think that's very interesting. Just getting used to the little buttons here. A lot to go on here, but we are just getting things set up here for you. So let me set that up for you. Pause it right here. Take it. Okay, now we're in business. Now we are in business. So here it is. This is the new survey. 15% plan to start earlier than last year. 2% have already finished, and 23% expect to finish by the end of November. Wow. I'm going to be reading some of your comments here now. Couldn't believe that. Don't know what that is. There we go. Sorry about that. I started around early November, but it picks up after Cyber Monday. Frankie, thank you for that, Frankie. Lee Chow, I don't buy things for others. I only buy things for myself. Well, then you're an easy buy then. Because you just know what you want. That's awesome. Pressing. Yeah, I know. That was a misfire. I'm lucky that we're all not in the air right now. I will get better at that switcher, though, for you guys. Hi, Lana. Well, I am from Chicago. Been out here in the Valley of the Sun for 3 years. Loving it. Really, really love it. I think it's a great place. It really, everything gets really exciting, in the winter, spring months. You got all those activities going on from spring training, and that's really blast. And then I always get a lot of visitors around then, right? You always get visitors come spring training. Everyone wants to come and visit and beat all that snow and cold, and really, that's really what you want to get rid of. But I want to also talk about, guys, earlier today, Christie was talking to the media. It was a little meet and greet in New Hampshire, and we will bring that to you right now. Let me set this up. Give me 1 second. Awesome. And here we go.
The press does that well enough. You guys can micromanage Rutgers. I have a president there. I have a board of governors. If they need my help or they want my advice, they'll call. And if I see something that I think is completely outrageous, I'll call them. But they're dealing with disciplinary problems with teenagers. This is not shocking. I'm a father of 4. Having disciplinary problems with teenagers is the normal course on a college campus. And so, the breathless media coverage of all this, and every time there's a problem, it's some indication of some problem, some deep-seated problem at Rutgers. Man, you guys got to find something else to do. And I certainly have a lot more important things to do than worry about what wide receiver was suspended for a few games recently. Being governor of New Jersey and running for president is a little more important than that. Anything else? Great. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you.
I'm saying thank you.
Flower. No, it's really nice. Hey, what was the last time you got flowers?
So you can put them under your chin and it turns yellow?
Yeah.
It's love.
Good, I'm going to try that. Go get him. Good luck tomorrow, all right?
Governor, good luck. Good luck in the debate. You'll be all right. You're really good. No, you don't have to. You just keep doing what you're doing. All right. Take care.
Thanks for having me do this.
Take care. XD Cam. Is that you?
This is my 22nd visit to New Hampshire since January. And folks here are barely now starting to pay attention. In the main, they got a big mayor's race here in Manchester tomorrow. They're paying a heck of a lot more attention to what's going to happen tomorrow than they are what's going to happen on February 9th. So no, I need to be myself. That's what I'll do. I'll go out there on Wednesday and be myself, tell the truth as I see it, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
Governor,
So don't feel the pressure.
Governor, you called Mr. Trump a friend and said you'll support whoever wins the nomination. So will you back him if he wins?
If he's the nominee, sure, of course. When I sign a pledge, I actually mean it. So I've said that, if I will support whoever the Republican nominee is, and whoever the Republican nominee is will have my support. I intend to be supporting myself, but, if it happens to be somebody else, then I'd be happy to support that person. Any one of those people on that stage would be a better president than Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. I can guarantee you that.
Governor, turning to New Jersey, another Rutgers suspension, do you still have confidence in Coach Flood, and do you think anything needs to be done to oversee?
It's not my place. Listen, it's not my place to be micromanaging Rutgers, Matt. The press does that well enough. You guys can micromanage Rutgers. I have a president there. I have a board of governors. If they need my help or they want my advice, they'll call. And if I see something that I think is completely outrageous, I'll call them. But they're dealing with disciplinary problems with teenagers. This is not shocking. You know, I'm a father of 4. Having disciplinary problems with teenagers is the normal course on a college campus. And so, you know, the breathless media coverage of all this, and every time there's a problem, it's some indication of some problem, some deep-seated problem at Rutgers. Man, you guys got to find something else to do. And I certainly have a lot more important things to do than worry about what wide receiver was suspended for a few games recently. Being governor of New Jersey and running for president is a little more important than that. Anything else? Great. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you. Have a...
No, I'm saying thank you.
That's first.
Is that my turn? Carol. Carol, and then your last. Okay. I can't play a dog. Well, I got my tutu.
No, it's a 1. It's a 1.
It's a 1.
Just sit down.
Oh. She's cheating.
Yeah, that's what
I don't even know.
Governor and I shut down.
I don't know. You know what? It's going to be on camera if you're cheating.
You start with the 1 and then you
Okay, now.
I don't remember playing it too.
Oh.
See? And then the next one over here will be
And over here he starts a train.
Yes.
Which anyone can play on. And we're always so happy because we can't play on our own.
6.
I'll play this one.
New Jersey,
Yeah.
347 Thunderbolts.
Yes.
I used to be in charge of Thunderbolts, 351s.
Too bad.
Yeah. I trained fighter pilots Dover
11.
Air Force Base in Delaware.
Delaware, yeah.
The D's to the N's.
Yeah.
Get off my train.
Big operation.
Big operation.
Wow.
This
is way too high. Teddy, we're not way too many moving pieces here.
Well, there's a button you can play on it. Like we can play over here. Because there's buttons.
Yeah, but I
The
can't.
thing is to get rid of your
I can't play on
domino.
the 9 either. No.
You guys completely lost me.
That's all right. You're good at what you do.
All right,
We're good at what we do.
That's all right. That's good. Everybody's good at what they do. That's good.
That's what good.
Have fun. Enjoy. And make a comeback, would you please?
I tried.
Represent the guys, you know, would you?
Try to make it on the Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's
It's
what-
packed. Bingo day.
I got to come here and call bingo. That's what I have.
Oh,
That's what I want.
good. Yeah.
All right, guys, that was from earlier today, and we just got in the little meet and greet that Hillary Clinton had earlier today. It just wrapped up about an hour ago in Iowa. She was campaigning there, and she spoke on a lot of different issues, really centered on women and women's rights. So we will get to that right now. Let's go to that for you. Take that off, sorry.
I just told Danielle she really nailed that introduction. She said she had been practicing it last night, and I said there's no substitute for practicing when you stand up in front of a crowd of people, and I think we should give her another round of applause. She did a great job. And I want to thank Amy Friedman, who is our field organizer here in Cedar Falls. She is one of the incredible group of people, predominantly but not exclusively young, who are doing our field organizing, who are volunteering full-time, our fellows who are part of this process. And I could not be prouder. We have an amazing team across the state who are working every single day. They just had a training session with the new 30 organizers and the 100 fellows, and we welcome each and every one of you to be part of this winning campaign so that you can see firsthand what it's like to try to work in a campaign on behalf of a better future for all of us. And I am grateful to Amy and all of the hardworking team here in Iowa. I want to thank President Rood for inviting me here. I'm always impressed by what I hear is happening at UNI. I was told about a certain football game as well. But there's a lot more going on. In addition to winning at football, I think this university is winning in a lot of ways. And for that, I congratulate not only the leadership, but all of you who are part of making a difference here. I just had a chance to visit with a group of students and faculty, the dean, as well as some others from different colleges and universities about the issue of domestic violence and sexual assault on campus. I did that in part because I care deeply about the issue and am rolling out some policies today that I think would help us move this issue forward so that we would have more comprehensive services for survivors. We would have much more emphasis on a fair process and figure out exactly how we're going to do that. And we would increase prevention efforts. Now, part of the reason I wanted to come here and to talk about this is because yesterday we celebrated the 21st anniversary of the Violence Against Women Act. And that was a landmark piece of legislation in our country and, in fact, in the world. The person chosen by then President Clinton, you know, you can't beat that, right? The person chosen to begin to lead the efforts to translate into reality what we meant by trying to prevent violence against women was the former Attorney General of Iowa, Bonnie Campbell, who is here with us. And where's Bonnie? There she is, back there, Bonnie Campbell. She was the first person to lead the Violence Against Women office in the Department of Justice. She has made that her life's work. She went with me when I went to Beijing in 1995 on behalf of the United States to state what should have been obvious but needed to be said, that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all. And it was great having Bonnie with me because it wasn't just enough to go and make a speech. That was important. I didn't realize fully the importance until I was very nervous before I did it. There were a lot of people who didn't want me to go. I thought I should, but still, it wasn't clear exactly what the outcome would be. So it was important to have with me people like Bonnie who were doing the work that the United States had to lead to actually translate into positive programs, policies, changes, what we meant when we talked about women's rights and human rights, and particularly the scourge of violence against women. So this is a special time and a special place to be talking specifically about an issue that affects 1 in 5 women on campus. And it is something deeply important to me to try to work together with everybody to bring about the changes that are necessary in behavior and attitude, to try to confront the continuing challenge of violence against women, and in particular here on campuses. Now, I want to be sure that we have a chance to talk further about that, but I also want to lay out some of the other elements of my agenda, because I happen to think that we have to get the basic bargain in America working again for everybody. What do I mean by that? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. If you work hard and you do your part, you should be able to get ahead and stay ahead. That's how it's supposed to work in America. That is how it has worked for generations. You know, my grandfather, my dad's father, was a factory worker. He went to work every single day of his life in the Scranton lace mills. He worked there for many years. He did it because he had to support his family, but he also did it because he believed, as an immigrant to this country, that it would be better for his children, that they would have a better life. That is the essence of the dream, of the bargain, right? And it worked. He had 3 sons. They all got to go to college. You know, my dad got out of college in the middle of the Depression. He couldn't find a job. Jumped on a freight train. Don't do this, but what he did. Took that train to Chicago, began looking for a job. He got a job as a salesman. Worked at that for a number of years, went into the Navy during World War II, and when he came out, he started a small business. And he worked really hard, because it was a very small business, but it provided a good, solid, middle-class life for my family. So here I am at UNI running for president in 3 generations. And I am deeply grateful not only to the hard work and sacrifice of my family, parents and grandparents, but to this country. Because this country held out a promise. It made a bargain with them that was kept. And I want to be the president who makes sure I can look in the eyes of every single person, particularly young people in this country, and tell you, honestly and truly, we're keeping that bargain for you too. And your future deserves to be as good as anybody's. So how do we do that? Well, we've got to make America work for everybody, for all people and families, not just those at the top. And I think we need a president who takes on all the big issues, you know, issues like ISIS, climate change, Syrian refugees, those issues. And I am both prepared and ready to do that. You know, I've negotiated a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. I put together the coalition that came up with the sanctions that brought Iran to the negotiating table. I know what we have to do to protect our country, to protect our security, and to meet the big challenges. But I also know this, that a lot of what is affecting people today is what's going on in their lives. How do they afford college? How do they pay off the debt once they get out of college? How do they afford child care if they get that job that they need? How do they get equal pay for equal work if they are a woman in the workforce? So I am prepared and ready to take on those big questions that fill the screens, that screech at us from the headlines, that must be addressed by American leadership. But I'm also ready to take on those issues that keep you up at night, that you talk about around the kitchen table, that are a source of worry and concern, because I hear about them. You know, I've had some amazing experiences in the last months coming back into politics and traveling around Iowa and elsewhere. And people tell me the most personal concerns. They tell me about their friend's child that they just buried from a drug overdose. They tell me about their mother, their 58-year-old mother who got addicted to opioids and just died. They tell me about the untreated mental health and the absolute...
All right, we are going now live to a press conference on the Delta University shooting. It is going to start up pretty soon here, so we are going to be taking that live for you right now. Let's all listen in and tune in to see what new details they have.
They have come out from every aspect of this state, city, our county, and we really appreciate everything they're doing to apprehend the person of interest, and we feel very confident in the work that they're doing, and we thank them.
Again, I'm going to reiterate what happened this morning. At approximately 10:18 a.m., the Delta State University Police Department received a call of shots fired in Job Hall. They immediately contacted the Cleveland Police Department, and upon officers' arrival, a gentleman was found deceased in his office, who was later identified as Ethan Schmidt. We do have a person of interest at this time, and we're actively pursuing every lead that we have. At the conclusion of this press conference, we will be releasing a copy of his photograph to the press, and we ask that anyone that knows this person or has contact with this person to please contact the Delta State University Police Department at area code 662-846-4155, the Cleveland Police Department at area code 662-843-3611, or the Bolivar County Sheriff's Department at area code 662-843-5378. The person of interest that we're looking for is Mr. Shannon Lamb. He is a employee of the university, and at this time we're following up on leads, and we have nothing else to release at this time.
What is his connection to Professor Smith?
We're not releasing any information on that part at this time.
Do you believe that Mr. Lamb may have been involved in a homicide in Gaucher?
At this time, we did have information that he possibly could be involved in a homicide in Gaucher.
Was that his wife? Another homicide?
Campus? Do you think he's still on campus?
At this time, we don't think he's on campus, but we're not taking anything lightly. We're at the process now. We went into lockdown. We made sure that the students, faculty, staff, and administration were safe, and at this time we're methodically going building to building to get the students out and let them leave and go home safely. Our local high schools were locked down, and at 3 o'clock we will have a significant police presence at these schools for the students from those schools to be able to go home to their parents also.
Was Margaret Green in the elementary school also locked down?
What was that, sir?
Was Margaret Green in the elementary school also locked down?
Yes, sir.
Is he connected to another homicide that happened here in town today at Mr. Schmidt's home?
We have no information of another homicide here in town this morning.
Do we know if he had any kind of record in the past?
Do not at this time.
And you say he was a current employee. Which department did he work in?
I'm not sure. I was just advised he was an employee of the university.
Current employee or former employee?
Current employee. No students were injured.
Do you have any shots were fired?
Sir?
Any shots were fired?
No, sir. At this time, we're not releasing that information. No, sir. We're not releasing that information.
All right. He's traveling in, if possible?
Right now, we're not, but we will have another press conference in approximately an hour to an hour and a half, and we will, at that time, hopefully have more information for you concerning this.
All right, guys,
that's all the questions.
Our press conference. I'm going to let them get back to the command staff so that...
You'll hang out, we'll get you the pictures.
Yeah, if you'll hang out right here, we'll have a copy of the pictures of our person of interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
24. I got you.
Thank you.
Do we have a name yet, other than just a face?
Shannon Lamb.
Thank you.
This is person of interest.
Did you have that picture?
Last one.
Yeah, me.
Do you want me to put it down for you on the ground? Does that help?
No, actually,
I need some more, let me know.
Ah.
If I get some water.
This is Lamb.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, this is the shooter, right?
Oh, I got you with my bling.
We just heard it. Manhunt is underway. Let me just try one more time. Not hearing it. Testing. Got it. We're going to take you now live to a New York presser for Pope. They're getting ready for the Pope to be coming in. The security concerns is on set 5 now.
obviously relates to the security perimeters being set up by NYPD working with our federal partners, so they can better speak to that. I can certainly say we're going to a lot of effort to ensure that there's multiple ways that people have to verify their identity, and the head of our citywide office of special events, Michael Carey, is here, and he can speak to the details of that if we need. For me personally, this is a moment to be very proud as a New Yorker. Again, I think it is a fair statement to say that Pope Francis is the leading voice of conscience in the world today. He is calling all of us to do better, to work together to address conflicts around the world, to address what is now a global challenge of migration in a compassionate manner. He's addressing in many, many ways the challenge of inequality all over the earth. He's calling for solidarity with the poor in a way that I think has been striking and has helped all over the world for people to rethink their approaches and their policies. So in just the short time of his papacy, we can say that Pope Francis has really become a particularly powerful voice in this world, and it has had a particularly strong and fast impact. But that's just one part of the equation. I think for the millions of Catholics in New York City and in the metropolitan area, this is a jubilant moment, and a moment where their supreme leader, the person who they look to as the voice and the interpretation of their faith, is going to be here among us. That is a moment of profound meaning to millions and millions of people. And finally, as I said, people happen not to be Catholic, but still are moved by the Pope's example as a leader, as a voice of conscience. There's something about Pope Francis that is uplifting to all of us, I believe, and encouraging to all of us, and speaks to the possibilities that humanity can reach. So to have him here in the place that still in many ways defines the center stage of the earth, I think is going to be powerful. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be inspiring. Again, to the question of how we're going to ensure that the various credentialed events are handled properly, I'll let the Commissioner and our security leaders speak to you about that.
I'll be happy to answer that question on credentialing. As part of the National Special Security event, we actually have a subcommittee that works exclusively on credentialing. There will be strict controls as far as credentialing is concerned for access during the papal visit and beyond, quite frankly. And I think it's really important. Yes, we have the papal visit, but we have 170 heads of state in here. And there's going to be some strict controls as far as access concerning those protectees as well. Just that there will be credentials in place for access, and that access is going to be controlled by the Secret Service in conjunction with the New York City Police Department.
So I might add on a practical news you can use point, bring valid ID or you will be turned away. Would you agree with that statement?
That is always very helpful.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Please.
Yes, I would like to know, as you established earlier, this is a real biggest challenge in the history of New York City. With the General Assembly, but given the fact that the Pope is a passionate person that likes to trust people and shows out with people that want to see him, are you planning in advance, or are you planning to advise the Pope that perhaps in this time around he might have to restrain from being so accessible?
We have had a number of discussions with archdiocese representatives as well as papal representatives about security issues and trying to the best of our ability to meet our needs, that of the Secret Service certainly, and the NYPD, and the desires and wishes of the Pope. So we are very comfortable that we are going to be able to meet both sets of needs and have a very safe event that will satisfy certainly the Pope's desire as well as the concerns that we would have from a security standpoint. We have at this time, as we're speaking to you and going forward, no credible threats directed against this event that we're aware of, constantly monitoring, as you might expect. And we have the combined efforts of some of the best intelligence forces in the world at this juncture working on this event. But at this time, that there's nothing that from this point going forward that we are aware of. Constantly watching and constantly scanning, but again, nothing at this juncture.
That same topic, Mr. Brett, for the Secret Service, there was some threat against the Pope that's been foiled. Do you have any information on that?
Mr. Seeker to speak to that.
I will defer to Diego to go ahead and answer that question. There was a JTTF investigation, and that's about as much as we want to say. So,
And that's what we're going to say, folks, regarding that. We're just not going to comment on any ongoing investigation at this time. And as the police commissioner said, there's no credible threat at this time to this event or to the Pope.
Wait, hold on. Rich has been waiting patiently.
Mr. Commissioner, but the Holy Father's fairly...
One of the deans of the New York Press Club.
Yes. Seniority has its privileges, Rich.
The Holy Father is pretty unpredictable. He loves to get out of the Pope-mobile.
Tell me about it.
He goes to hug people. So is this a concern? I mean, obviously you must have some plans in place that you probably can't outline entirely for us, but can you...
Certainly for those of us wearing the security hats, it's always a concern that if we could, we'd keep them in as tight a bubble as we could. But this Pope has made it quite clear as he's traveled around the world that that's not what he does. Again, we will attempt to, as much as possible, try to find common ground on this issue. And I'm very comfortable that we'll be able to meet his needs as well as our needs. And at the end of the event, we'll all look back and feel that it went off very, very well.
And Rich, I'm going to add, as you've heard me say before, invoking one of the most famous of advertisements, he answers to a higher authority. So we're going to respect that.
Is there a ballpark figure as to how many officials it takes to secure an event like this, and how much is it costing the city to provide security here?
The numbers of personnel at this juncture that we're still, as recently as this morning's tabletop, things that we learned from that, those numbers will be adjusting. But I think the opening comments that we believe this is probably the largest security event the department's had to deal with because of the idea of, if you think of it, three major events. Not the president coming in at the tail end of it is normally a major undertaking for any city, but the Pope and the UN at the same time. And then just to put in a little entertainment on top of it all, we have Beyonce entertaining 100,000 people in Central Park as the Pope is leaving. So, and then I think we have a couple of baseball games that are scattered in and about at the same time. No, there's no city in the world that's as prepared as this one to deal with the multiplicity of events. As to the cost will be what it is, that to ensure that everybody that is involved has a safe event. That's where the costs are going to go, and we will seek to be mindful of them, certainly, but these things do entail a cost, and that's one of the things that New York has to contend with when we describe ourselves as the center of the universe.
Is there any estimate on how many people will have access to the Pope? So you have Fifth Avenue, Central Park, Madison Square Garden, in terms of ticketed people, dignitaries. Is there
I think in the planned events, we certainly would know St. Patrick's, Central Park, how many can actually ticket holders get in. Some of the other movement around the city that the limitation would be just geographic space. But I think it's safe to say in the course of his time here, he'll be exposed to hundreds of thousands of people as he moves around the city.
Mr. Brett,
I'm sorry. Hold on.
About the ticket, there is information that if you sell tickets of $1,000, is that going to be
Look, that's truly troubling. It's disgusting that anyone would take a free ticket for someone to see His Holiness and decide to resell it. So let's start with sort of some basic human values. No one should do that. No one should buy such a ticket. It's just absolutely inconsistent with everything that this Pope stands for. We, the city, are working in terms of the ticketed events that we are organizing with some of the outlets that often provide the platform like eBay and Craigslist, and they've been very cooperative in helping us to inhibit this type of activity. But I think this becomes a very human equation. No one should sell such a ticket. No one should buy such a ticket.
to Central Park? There's going to be a wall built.
Well, if you want to speak to that, he's talking about going through the fence, going through both the park as well as some of the other locations. Sure.
Is there a specific question about the fence or?
About a fence and walls.
Okay. Fencing is used by the Secret Service routinely to identify those that have been screened versus those that haven't been screened. We have gone to great lengths working with the city to try to ensure that we would be able to keep businesses open, particularly along Fifth Avenue. And to that end, I think that's where a lot of the narrative about the fencing and the height of the fencing may arise. So if beyond that, if there's...
That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Has the Pope expressed any interest in using public transportation? He sees himself very much as a man of the people. That's something that's under consideration.
We hope not.
Excellent answer.
And if he does, he better pay the fare. We have strong laws against fare evasion here.
That's right.
Okay. Back again, then I'll move over, please.
Yes, and in between the place, for example, the school in East Harlem and the Central Park, and then Central Park and Madison Square Garden, will you move in the Pope mobile on that period? People can go and see.
He's asking about the movement from Central Park then down to the next event, about which vehicle.
Okay. As far as the vehicles that the Pope will utilize during his visit, we will not have any comment on that.
You'll want to go there in spite of him going fast anyway. You'll try to go free.
I would say that we are very, very familiar with this Pope and how he travels. So one would expect that what has been used both in Italy and certainly some of the other countries that he's visited, we would expect to see the same type.
Let me just add to that. Look, the Central Park element of this visit, which we helped to organize, I think people will have a very positive experience and have an opportunity to see the Pope. But again, we're not going to get into more detail about the specifics for security reasons. I think I just said that people will have a very positive experience. I'm talking about the Central Park piece in particular. But again, I think it's clear that any opportunity to see the Pope will be meaningful to a lot of people in this city, and I think there's been several good opportunities to do that.
I did not hear that question.
People want to know if there's some place they can go if they don't have tickets to see the Pope.
I think as we get closer to the event and the information is disseminated as to where he's going to be, people may have to try to figure that out for themselves in the sense we will have announced motorcade routes, certainly Central Park and other events, but as to other movement through the city, we will not be advertising that, if you will, as he moves from location to location, other than for major events. Okay.
Commissioner, a couple of weeks ago, Commissioner Miller put a limit of about 5,000, upper limit on 5,000 on the number of police officers who are going to be involved in the papal security. Is that still holding, or is that being adjusted up or down?
I don't think we've given out numbers in terms of that 5,000 figure. I'm not sure that would come from Jimmy. I don't know if you have really finalized yet what you're working on. That's still a work in progress in terms of what we will have utilized for total numbers during that event. Okay, and also it will go up or down day to day depending on the events we're talking about also. Okay. And last one here before we move off topic.
I know you can't speak too specifically about what you're doing in Central Park, but I mean, does that aspect of the Pope's visit present particular or different or more challenging security issues as he'll be more out in the open? There'll be many people there.
Well, I think Central Park is more challenging in the sense of the scope and scale, the distance, etc. It is a ticketed event, however, as the others are also. So that allows some control, and with the fencing that the Secret Service has referenced, no, I think we'll be fine. That all of these events are challenging. Let's face it, that's the reality of it. But I think the collective expertise that is going to be involved in this, both at the federal, state, local level, I think we're going to be in very good shape as we go forward. Okay.
It's a ticketed event, but what about windows, rooftops? Man, it seems like it's almost impossible to cover everything.
Well, that's the fact that you never have the ability to cover everything in the sense of controlled access. But even those areas that, as much as you'll see, there'll be that much more that you won't see in terms of rooftop observation, et cetera, that there's quite a bit of behind the scenes, if you will, security involved with this also.
Okay, we have covered this topic. We want to thank our colleagues from the Secret Service, the FBI, and FEMA for their support and their partnership. And
they'll be on the tour with us.
Yeah, and you'll be on the tour with us in just a moment. But now we're going to go to off-topic, any off-topic issues at all. Cindy.
For Commissioner Brett. Commissioner, the NYPD has said that before the James Blake incident, there was no reason to remove Officer Crassenford from the street. Back in December, WNYC reported.
All right there. So that was the security officials talking about the Pope's big visit to New York City coming at the end of this month, and they said that there was no credible threats to the Pope, so that is very good news, as you can imagine what the security officials have to be going through to get the Pope into New York City and maintain his big security system that he has, a big network that he has. So as the concerns are good there for no credible threats, what is happening, though, that officials are really worried about is ticket scalping, because he is a big ticket for these events for church, and a lot of people have been doing some ticket scalping. So we were going to get to that right now, and I will get you that story plugged in right here.
With the Pope's visit just days away, some opportunists are trying to cash in. And believe me when I say using the term opportunist is the nicest label we could find. A check of eBay and Craigslist shows some tickets are going for hundreds, others are going for thousands. And keep in mind, these are tickets that were released for free.
You can't sell that thing. It's something very personal. You should feel very lucky to attend an event like that.
Only trusting cash transactions laughable, given how the act of scalping Pope tickets one got for free is inherently untrustworthy. Giving new definition to surge pricing, one brilliant guy set his eBay asking price at $1 million, or a job. He won't be getting one from Senator Charles Schumer, who denounced the scalpers and beseeched potential buyers not to award such greed.
Turns a beautiful and holy event into a mercenary event. And that is just plain wrong. To think that anyone who received these lottery tickets would seek to make a fast buck off them is gut-wrenching.
Would you ever sell your tickets? No. Maria won 2 free tickets in the raffle, and she will be using them as the Pope intended. Along with her, many believe if anyone has thousands to spend on a pair of tickets, they should instead be using that money to do good.
It isn't what the Pope wants that somebody pays $5,000 for to see the Pope. I don't think that's the reason why the Pope is here. I think if you see him on television, or if you see him in Rome, or if you see him here, it doesn't matter. It's in your heart how you live and how you look at people. And I think $5,000 to buy a ticket to see somebody, I think it's, no, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, well, that was very interesting. A lot of people, obviously trying to take advantage as the Pope is coming at the end of this month. He's going to be visiting Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. A nice East Coast swing for everyone there. But a little bit closer to home in California, they are going through some devastating wildfires. And there was a press conference that just wrapped up, and I wanted to show that to you. So let me get that set up for you. But as you can imagine, just devastating. It's always, when we have them in our state, they're just horrible to see, and so much property damage and even lives lost as well. It's just a horrible way. So I will get this queued up for you. Give me one moment. Here we go. coming to you, the California Wildfire Press Conference.
Designed to take into the count of 4 years of extremely dry conditions in this state. The vegetation isn't recovering during the winter like it would normally do as it brings in moisture from the soil with rainfall. It's not getting there because we're not getting it. So every year it's just getting drier and drier. We're seeing things change in the state. We're seeing that mean temperature, that average temperature come up, and fire seasons are getting longer because the conditions are conducive in a longer time period. So all of that is contributing to a base of vegetation that is just way beyond what the models ever were really designed to predict.
What's the impact of the geothermal facilities?
We're currently assessing that. It looks like there was damage to the cooling towers, and those are wooden, the way they're designed, and then some of the other actual plants themselves. And so we're still working. Again, fire is very active, so it's been a challenge to get into many of these areas, but there certainly was damage to both the cooling towers and some of the plants themselves.
Governor, in the recent legislative session, there were some climate bills that you supported that either didn't go through or were modified. Talk about that a little bit and put it in perspective of these fires. What are your thoughts? Are those things all related?
Well, look, there's been fires in California from time immemorial. We know that. But we also know that the temperatures are rising. The annual mean temperature is going up. And that then, when combined with years of drought, means that the conditions are worse. They're drier, and therefore these fires are acting more aggressively, more unpredictably. So we have to do something about it. A lot of what you have to do is fight the fire, is have the equipment, invest the money. You also have to do preventative work during the year, and there's some air pollution issues about starting controlled fires that are very important. We have to work through those. But longer term, the climate is changing, and that means the weather is going to be hotter and more unpredictable. So we have to do something about it. But when we talk about something as global and as slow-moving as climate change, it doesn't fit in with either the news cycle or the political cycle. This is a longer-term challenge, which California has definitely been responding to in a very creative way. Some of these bills, I have to say, the SB 350 was incredible what it's doing in terms of energy efficiency and the 50% goal, which is very real. And California, unlike any other state, has the technical capacity to meet that 50% renewable energy. Now, with the third element, petroleum, that's something that has to be reduced over time. Now, how we do that, that is a very complicated set of initiatives that need to be taken from now on, going forward. We have a goal for 15 years from now. The Air Resources Board will be setting forth how we're going to get there. So they'll be what they call, they'll be doing a scoping set of workshops, and people will come in and they will argue and talk, and in the best way we can. What the bill merely said was that which is our goal, which I laid out in my inauguration, let's put it into statute. But there was nothing in that particular statutory provision that indicated how we're going to get to that goal. That is the work of the Air Resources Board and the legislature going forward. So we haven't missed a beat. Climate change is real. Now we have a whole political party that denies that.
Thank you for that.
That is a real challenge to California, to the country, and to the world. That's why I'm working on this. And you ought to see it not in terms of me. I'm just part of the flots and jetsam of history. I'll be gone soon enough. But climate change is not going. It's going to be around even after your newspapers are long forgotten. So this is a matter of deep personal and general significance that everyone ought to be thinking about how they can best respond. We know from the science that the Southwest will warm, that the climate is changing, and it's going to exacerbate and intensify the occurrence of forest fires. There's no doubt about that. Now, the exact chemical interaction for every day and every fire, that's something that will be argued about and scientists will continue to research. But we know with certainty, with great confidence, that we got to deal with the climate change. That's why I've made such a big thing about it. And it's not going to stop with me, because I wish it were if it were just about me, then it would be a very trivial problem. But it's really about you, and it's about your children, and it's about the future of how our society is going to function. And what we're seeing in Europe now with mass migrations, that will happen in California. As the Central America and Mexico, as they warm, people are going to get on the move. And it's a real challenge. We have a chance to minimize this significantly, but it takes real commitment, and it's not business as usual. And there are a lot of companies and people and ideas that say, well, this can't be. We don't believe it. Well, I think the science indicates what we have to do, and as far along as I'm around, I'm going to keep pushing it. But I don't think the fact that they took the oil out, that didn't alter any of the legal framework of California. It just said the legislature is not ready yet to memorialize the goal that I've set forth, and I think is well contained within AB 32. What? Why don't we just let it follow?
I just wonder, it's not often that we see you have a legislative, if you want to call it, defeat. You usually get what you want. So thinking about that, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that, since I have been watching governors come and go since Earl Warren days, the idea that a governor always gets everything that the governor requests is silly. And to try to make that as some kind of unusual event when a bill is defeated. I mean, this is a bill that came out of the legislature, came out of the Senate, and we certainly backed it because it's definitely in the right direction. And people who voted against it are going to have to vote for it, or the next legislature, or a few years after that. There's no doubt we have to decarbonize our modern economy. That's true. And quite frankly, I think the good out of this is we have drawn the battle lines. We have sharpened what the debate is, because there's still vast numbers of officials who just say this isn't true. Well, this will at least smoke them out, and as I said, people are going to focus on it. But I would suspect that not everything I want I'm going to get. That's never been my experience as governor or as attorney general or in life, and I don't think it's your experience. All your newspapers have certain circulation goals, and you miss them all many times. So this is part of the narrative. But one thing about these conditions, fires are not political. Climate change is not political. It's real, and I believe we all have to do whatever we can to respond appropriately. Yes?
I just want to ask you about the fires, Governor. You've no doubt taken in some of the coverage. You were talking to your officials over the weekend. You've seen what's happened. 2 entire towns virtually wiped off the California map over the last few years. Can you just talk a little bit about what has struck you in listening to the reports from the front lines, what you have noticed?
Well, I did talk to a couple of firefighters this morning, and they said this thing, they had never seen anything like this before. Both these firefighters have been doing firefighting for 7 years, and they definitely were caught by surprise. They didn't think the fire was dangerous from where they were, and then all of a sudden it was. So this is damn serious stuff. Firefighters have to be careful, but so do people who live out in their cabins or their homes. They have to leave when they get the word. And this is not just this year. This is the future from now on. It's going to get worse just by the nature of how the climate's changing. In Oakland, we lost thousands of homes. And I happen to live in a zone. I live in a fire zone, a slide zone, and a couple miles from the Hayward Fault. So I often like to spend time in Sacramento.
With regards to the fire, the budget that's been set aside for just this reason, are you concerned about that at all? Is there any outlook having to go to the rainy day fund, that type of thing?
Well, I am concerned because the desire for government intervention is almost endless. And in that exfoliation of government spending and activity, we can sometimes lose sight of the basics. And the basics are public safety and water and the basic infrastructure of roads and the distribution of food. We have to make sure we stick to the basics and be a little slower to be invested in things that are good and are nice but we have to stick it to the fundamentals, and that's certainly fighting fires. And we will have enough money in this budget. We'll be able to find it. We're not going to have to dip into the rainy day fund, at least not this year.
We've got to move to your last question.
Emotionally, how is this taking a toll on you watching what's happening to your people going through this situation?
Well, when you hear the firefighters themselves, you can imagine yourself being in that position. It's very, it's obviously it's scary stuff, and it takes a lot of courage, and these fires will take lives, and they will cause injuries, and we have to do the best we can, because we are really in a battle with nature, that nature is more powerful than we are.
And Chief, are there any word on the investigations leading to the last two fires that started? We know the one in Kings Canyon, that was lightning, correct?
Correct. No, all of these fires, other than the ones that were caused by lightning, are all under investigation. Obviously, as you can imagine, we are very protective of the investigation so they can get a good handle on all of the indicators and come back to us with that cause. So all of these are currently under investigation.
And Director, if I could ask just one down here on the missing or presumed, how do we know who's unaccounted for? Are they not heard from the family, or the reports of somebody not getting out? Is there any estimate as far as 5, 10, 20 looking?
So we don't have an estimate on that yet. The sheriffs in the various counties are working through their process. They know their communities well, and sometimes if there's cities in the counties, they're working with their city police departments to get through that amount of data. So in these type of conditions, in where the fires have taken place, some people may be out on vacation. They may not have been there. There's just a lot of reasons why people may not be accounted for, but we don't have an accurate number on that quite yet.
Emergency fire officials will be here to answer specific questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. That was the press conference from California about the wildfires. It is now 1:06, and let's talk a little bit of sports, because there was a football game yesterday. Arizona Cardinals back in action, NFL Week 1. It was great to see that football back, NFL Week 1. Tell me what you guys were thinking about the game. We're going to talk a little bit about Arizona Cardinals football right now. I thought it was a great game. Obviously, they won 31-19. It was a great performance by Carson Palmer. I didn't like to see Ellington go down, but I don't think he's going to be down for too long, so that is the good thing. I think Jones will be a great running back if they need him in place of Ellington, so that should be interesting. But I wanted to bring up, guys, the schedule. Wisconsin fans are all similar in their love. Yes, they are. But here we go. Let me bring this over to you. Whoops. And I'm going to show you their schedule, and we could talk a little bit about how we predict it's going to go down. So let me just kill that. Bring that over, and here we go. Here is their schedule. So obviously, they won 31-19 against the Saints. Awesome game. Next week, though, look at that, guys. They go to Chicago. Now, I'm going to be really, really at odds here, because obviously Chicago is my hometown team. I don't know who. At least we're going to see one winner, right? I like the Cardinals and the Bears, and at least I will have a winner that week, guaranteed, because we all know what happened for my Chicago Bears. Man, they almost had it with the Green Bay Packers. I thought at halftime we're like, wow, we got a game, and nope, we didn't, because Aaron Rodgers really came through and really shocked it up. So then they go to San Francisco. I believe that is a win. Then they go to the Rams. That is going to be a great game. I think that's going to be their one real test early on in the season against the St. Louis Rams. We just saw that they beat Seattle, and I think it's going to be a very hard game, but at least it is at home. So we do have that. If we had to go to St. Louis, I think it would be St. Louis's game, but I think we could get one there. Robert, don't worry, Chicago has no chance. I know. I think they're only going to win about 7 to 8 games myself. Then they go to Detroit. Another tough opponent there. Steelers, I don't think they're going to win the game against the Steelers. That is my prediction. I want to know what you guys think as well. Let me know what you think. We are on. We're talking about the Steelers right now. Do the Steelers beat the Cardinals? It's in Pittsburgh. I want to see your comments on that one, and I'll read some off for you guys. Then we go. Then we have Ravens, Browns, Seahawks. That's gonna be a Sunday night game. Obviously, that's like a game of the week contender. Then Bengals, 49ers. Let me slim that down there. Then we end the season with the Seahawks, Packers, and Eagles. Wow, talk about a tough 3-game schedule there at the end of it to wrap that up. That should be interesting. I really do think, but I'm thinking that the Cardinals will pull through. I'm thinking they're going to get another 10 to 11 win game season. That is my hoping, and I think they could really pull it off. So let me get back over here, you guys. Here I am. Let me put up my name here so you guys can follow me if you haven't already done so on Twitter. Mike Page, Fox 10. Let me put that in there for you. Got it. There you go. So this is my debut on News Now. It's been a great couple weeks. I've been here for a couple weeks now. Really, really love it. This is a great station, great team. Sami and Kinsey are great. They've been showing me the ropes here, so they've been really wonderful getting me all acquainted with the systems. And, I had a little miscues already, but that's okay. That's expected. But I would love for you to follow me. I'll follow you guys back. Mike Page, Fox 10. We'll talk about all sorts of different topics. What's going to be happening later in the day, Samia is going to come back up at about 1:35. She's going to have a new stream and a new show, and she's going to kind of get us all caught up on the major headlines of the day, including what's happening in Cleveland, Mississippi at that university with the school shooting. She will be here, and then Kinsey later tonight is going to be here as well. So it's going to be jam-packed with News Now staffers here to help you guys. I want to see if you guys have any questions for me. Let me get this here. Oh, thank you, Ale. You've been great. You have been great. Thank you as well. I want to know, what do you guys think about ASU as well? Are they going to win? They pretty much have to win out. Now they got to win out to sort of be in the Final Four for the playoff system. Which I think, when you're talking about the playoff system, I'm thinking they really need to expand it to 6 or 8 teams. I think that would be awesome. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow too as well, Ale. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Maribel. They really need to expand it to about 6 or 8 teams. Could you imagine a final 8? It would be amazing, because we have so much fun always watching, like, March Madness with the basketball. That's obviously 64 teams. We wouldn't ever get to that much in football, but for 8 teams, that would be a great playoff system, I think. It would be really, really interesting. So it was a great sports weekend, really, if you think about it. We had the Cardinals win, ASU won. Really shocked, though, that BYU won again. They're 2-0. They beat another ranked opponent. Unreal. Have you guys seen? I haven't seen the results. Are they ranked now, BYU? They should be, right? They beat 2 ranked opponents already. Really coming out of the woodwork on that one. I did not see that coming at all. BYU 2-0 to start the season. Thank you, Frankie. 1-1 on the season, he says. I think it's too early to tell, but I think ASU can make it. That would be awesome. We need ASU in that Final Four. Could you imagine? Because it's, the championship game is being played in Phoenix, in Glendale. Arizona volleyball rocks. Thank you there for that comment. Thanks for a nice show, Mike. Awesome. Well, thank you for listening and watching. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Can you imagine, though, ASU being in that championship game in Glendale? It'd be totally awesome. It would be amazing. And I wonder, because we have the championship game in January, I wonder if they're going to make it like kind of a whole downtown experience again, like they did for the Super Bowl. And I want to know, guys, how did you like the Super Bowl being out here? I thought it was absolutely terrific. It felt like actually downtown came alive. It really felt like a real happening city. And because sometimes you go down there and, you're in downtown Phoenix, and if there's not a game going on or not an event, it could kind of be dead for a little bit, for a while. Right up, after 5 p.m., after 6 p.m. when all the businesses close. But it was really popping and alive. Yeah, so we'll see. I hope we'll eventually get the Super Bowl back in about maybe 5 to 6 years. That would be, I think just terrific. While we're, on this Super Bowl thing, kind of football talk, California is going to be hosting, San Francisco is going to be hosting the next Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50. How amazing is that? Super Bowl 50, and I'm going to get this queued up for you because they are getting ready. I know it's only week 1, guys, and we're talking about the Super Bowl, but you got to be excited, right? So let me get this ready here for you, guys. Hold on. It's being weird. Can't see over these switchers sometimes, Okay, guys. Sorry about that. Just want you guys to be able to see it when I play it, Here we go.
Niners, baby, Niners.
Pablo Jimenez was one of the first football fans getting fired up.
Tattoo, born and raised in San Francisco since 1984, been a Niner fan ever since.
He and others lined up to snap a picture of the Super Bowl trophies, 5 for the Niners, 3 for the Raiders, together for the first time ever.
I can tell you that it is Everest. It is putting your flag on top.
Pro Football Hall of Famer and former 49er Steve Young talked about what it was like winning the Super Bowl. He and former Oakland Raiders Super Bowl champ Jim Plunkett are helping kick off the road to 50 when the Super Bowl comes to San Francisco.
It's to make sure that the Bay Area, the experience that people have through the lens of the Super Bowl is a wonderful one.
I think the excitement level is going to be through the roof.
It's going to be a great atmosphere for the Bay Area. We need it.
On a nearby field, more football greats with elementary school children in Play 60 Play On, an initiative combining NFL philanthropy, fitness, and of course, football.
A lot of these kids in these inner city schools, gym and all these type of things are being taken away from them. So it's a good job for Play 60 to come out here and get them moving.
And at Pier 35, fans got a chance to catch a football at professional speed, try on uniforms.
I love the Raiders. Raider Nation, baby.
Get more autographs and see the Hall of Fame bronze busts from both Bay Area teams. The Super Bowl 50 host committee hopes to gain momentum as the Super Bowl approaches.
Everybody's a Super Bowl champion today. Tomorrow, things start to change.
And there we go. And hopefully we will see the Cardinals in San Francisco, not just to play them, but in February for the Super Bowl. I think that could be really awesome if they do. And speaking of a big event that happened over the weekend for Sporting World was in Las Vegas with the Mayweather fight. He goes 49-0, beats Berto. Did we think otherwise, though, really, folks? We knew he was going to win that. A lot of people were really upset that he chose to fight Andre Berto. They thought it wasn't a good opponent for him. You know, in his last 6 matches, the guy goes 3-3. So there's that to be considered. I want to know what you guys think about this whole Mayweather circus, because now he says, I'm retired, I am done, I'm going to stop at 49-0. But is he going to stop at 49-0? He ties the record, but don't you think he's going to want to go for 50? Here is my opinion, and here's what I think is going to happen. He's going to stay retired. Not next May, but next September, in 1 year, he is going to be fighting to go for 50-0, and it's going to be against Pacquiao. You've heard it here first on News Now. We could put that in the history books because I think that is what is going to happen. Tell me what you guys think about that. It would be a rematch. I think it would be the only opponent he could do to really build up steam, because there was really hardly any publicity, I felt like, for this fight. So that's what I'm thinking. He's gonna go for 50-0. Robert says 50, yes. And will it be against Pacquiao? Pacquiao wants it. Mayweather says he's retired. He's gonna say, you know, because he was retired for just about like 21 months before, you know, a couple years ago, and then he came back, and then, you know, he had this big Showtime deal. It was worth over $500 million for those 5 fights. Yeah, isn't it? I don't think it's that bold, though, Ale. I really don't. I think he's going to come out and say, hey, guys, I am back, and guess who I'm fighting? Pacquiao. And, oh, yeah, it's going to be another $100 for a pay-per-view. Wasn't that crazy when it was $100 for the pay-per-view? I mean, it was in every bar. There was you know, covers to get into the bars, like a $20, $25, even $50, and then it was just crazy, the amount of money generated for just one fight. Brian Smith says all Mayweather fights are rigged. How so? How so, Brian? I'd like to... Are they rigged, you think, because he just goes the distance and kind of just takes his jabs when he wants to, and then, I mean, he really is just going for the points, right? He's not going for knockouts anymore. It's a shame that, you know, I would love to see a toe-to-toe fight. I don't think we get that, though, from Mayweather. Frankie says, I saved $100 by switching to Twitter. Yeah, that's sometimes the way to go, too, right? Get those live updates, those round-by-rounds, too. Like, a lot of websites do the round-by-round analysis, and you can kind of live vicariously through that. So, enough with the Mayweather. Bring on the car chases. Brian, if there was a car chase, I would definitely bring that to you. But we have no car chases right now, and thankfully we don't. Because this is... We have this. There is your current Dow. And then we have the White House. Then we have that story that we just did. Then you have me. So we're going to be wrapping it up here in about 6 minutes. But if you guys have any questions for me or want to get to know me a little, follow me right there, Mike Page, Fox 10. Would love to follow you back. Follow me. We'll do it. We'll do it great. We'll have some great conversations. It'll be a fun time. But I'm really glad to be part of this News Now. We got a great team. Sami is going to be coming up at 1:35 on a new stream, so look out for that. Then Kinsey later tonight. It's going to be a great, great show. We're going to have a blast. And I do like to make those statements once in a while, and I do believe that Mayweather is going to come out of retirement you're going to hear about it next May. They're going to build it up for September. It's going to be a Pacquiao rematch. He's going to go 50-0. He's going to collect probably, another crazy $250 million. Isn't that ridiculous, though, when you think about that? That is dumb and that's stupid. Really. It's like $250 million for a one fight. And then you think about all the teachers, police officers, firefighters that don't even get, not even close to that, right? Isn't that what is so crazy about that? But, he's an athlete. He worked very hard for his craft. He's undefeated. Obviously, he has some problems outside of the ring, and, those have been addressed over and over again. But guy is 49-0. Going for 50, and it should be interesting to see how that all pans out. Thank you, Frankie. Frankie, you've been very nice. I'm just gonna say here live, thank you. See, it's fun. Now you know that I said it, right? I'm at the controls. I'm happy to be here, and it's gonna be a great time on News Now. Who has followed me already? I'm going to a meeting at 1:30. I'll start following some people back. We're going to have an editorial meeting, and that's where, all the evening crew comes in and they pitch their stories about what the reporters and anchors want to have in the newscast. Producers talk it over, what they have in the newscast. Obviously, we're going to be following a lot of developments, that university shooting. The one suspect is still on the loose. We're going to have a press conference probably about 2:15. So, of course, Samia will take that live for you. Just to regroup here, we are also going to be showing you that Hillary Clinton press conference. We weren't able to show it to you in its entirety because of the breaking press conference news. So we will get that to you. But make sure that you follow us on Twitter. And then you can follow us on Facebook as well, Fox 10 Phoenix. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Samia taking a look there. She's gearing up for her show. And we're going to do another stream, right?
Yeah, I want to tell it that we need to tell them how good it is.
Good. Come on in. She's going to, Samia here.
Hi.
With a preview. So tell me what you have for your stream. Let me move over here.
It's really exciting. So we're going to be starting at 1:35. I'm still so short. 1:35. At the very top, Steve Kraft is going to join us with a preview of the GOP debate. As you guys know, the next GOP debate is on Wednesday.
Yep.
So Steve leaves early tomorrow morning to head to California. So we're going to preview that.
Awesome.
Plus, I just heard some interesting information involving Donald Trump. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to give it all away.
Teasers.
Plus, we're going to be having another press conference in terms of the search for the gunman. With that shooting in Mississippi. Plus, closer to 4 o'clock, a full press conference update on the I-10 shooter search.
Wow.
So there's a lot.
Can you say jam-packed?
I'm going to go update my makeup. I'll see you guys at 1:35.
All right. Sounds good. See you in a little bit, Samia. All right. Obviously, she has a packed show there. Going to be packed, and obviously if there's other breaking news she will take that, of course. But I wanted to thank you all for watching and listening. My name is Mike Paish. You can follow me, Mike Paish, Fox 10. Really enjoyed speaking with you and sharing this time that we had together, and we'll do it again tomorrow. But of course, Samia coming up at 1:35 for her show, and you just heard the preview for it. It's going to be good. So enjoy, everybody. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.